Welcome back. It's the Wednesday edition of the Sports Cage. Appreciate you taking the time. It is brought to you by Regina Motor Products. You got Teagan Witko with you, Scott Schultz, keeping us on the air at 620 CKRM, on the stream as well on sportscage.com, our YouTube channel too. Join in the conversation there. We love to hear from you on the chat. You can always join in the conversation on the text line as well. That number 306-936-6262. Prairie Land Rentals, whatever you need, from small power tools to skid steers, they got it, or they likely have it. Go deal directly with the owner, okay? 600 Albert Street. They'll get you all hooked up. Lots coming up on the show today. Riders back at practice. So, yeah, lots coming out of that. Riders looking a little bit healthier too, but we'll talk about all of the changes there and who was an active participant in practice in just a little bit. First, I do want to mention who's coming up on the show today. All of our guests joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline with perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. Okay, let me see here. First of all, Matt Young is going to be joining us. Great follow on Twitter. If you don't already give him a follow, you should, because he actively tracks all of the attendance numbers, realistic attendance numbers across the CFL, because there's a difference, between sold or distributed and scanned tickets. He dives a little bit deeper into that. He's also an editor reporter over at CTV in Saskatoon, and he does play-by-play for it all. Great guy, college football, hockey, basketball. So we're gonna talk to him about a little PFC action. Prairie Football Conference is underway, so we're gonna get his take on the Saskatchewan teams here. Canada West exhibition games start rolling this weekend as well. So we're going to talk about what's ahead and what we've seen thus far in terms of training camp. Also, we're going to dive into those CFL attendance numbers and some of the trends that he might be seeing. I think we can all predict what the trends are at this point, but they are shifting ever so slightly in the CFL season as we're now about at the midway point through the season. Two Scotts are going to be joining us on the show today. Two very different sports. The first one, Midweek Sound Off at 4 o'clock with the one and only Scott Schultz. He's going to be joining us to look ahead for what's in store for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they head into BC this Sunday. Of course, we're going to talk to him a little bit about what happened in Hamilton last week, but let's move forward. It's Wednesday, or that midway point of the week. Let's see what he has to say. Also, I think we're going to have him lean in on the Where Do You Land Wednesday. I think that's kind of important. I think this is one that he would have a strong opinion on, or maybe he won't. We'll find out. Your clutch performer, your sprinkle of the day with Sports Select, that's all still straight ahead. Scott King is the second King who's going to be joining us, and very familiar to WHL fans. Recently promoted to head coach with the Moose Jaw Warriors during the offseason. Now, Scott has been around the organization for quite some time. I do believe he started 2015, 2016 with the club, so he is just advanced and had different roles and responsibilities along the way, and obviously got to that head coaching position. So well-deserved for Scott King, and we can't wait to catch up with Kinger a little bit later on as we get into WHL training camps and, of course, the preseason. Hard to believe it's 2 weeks away. Yeah, 2 weeks away from today, we have WHL preseason hockey back on rinks across Western Canada. It's also Wednesday. That means we have your junior football report. Today we're going to be featuring a couple of those Prairie Football Conference players, including Peter Borsch from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So we'll hear from them a little bit later on, plus everything that you need to know with the Riders' first day back at practice following that loss to Hamilton, and who's back on the field, who's not back on the field. We'll get to that here in just a bit. You know what? Actually, let's talk about it now, because I want to get to Mark Mueller here. We had a conversation with him. But first, I should preface it with the fact that Samuel Emelis was back on the field early from being on the 6-game list. So he's saying he's going to play on Sunday. A little bit more veteran capacity for the Arsenal when it comes to that receiving core. Him and Keyshawn Johnson reunited, and I'm sure it feels so good. Also on the field after coming off that 6-game injured list, Ali Saad, defensive lineman, and James Letcher Jr., who, again, that could be great for the Riders' return game. So offensive linemen getting a little bit healthier here, as well as we did see Zach Fry back on the field taking some limited reps, as well as Daniel Johnson. So when it does come to the offense, that's been a bit of a talking point this week coming out of Hamilton and that loss to the Ticats. We figured it was a good opportunity to catch up with Mark Mueller. When I say us, I mean our very own Dave Thomas. Had a conversation with him down on field level as we were starting to talk about the offense heading into this next week.
Coach Mark Mueller, we are at the halfway point of the season. When you assess where we are at from where you wanted to be at the start of the year, how do we fall in?
I think we're getting there. I mean, I think would rather, if you asked me if the outcome was different in Hamilton, I'd probably be a little happier. But I mean, I think we're getting better. I think we've had lots of guys play, which is good, and it shows that those guys work hard. And I appreciate how hard they work, whether it's the 8 linemen we've had, or however many receivers, or 4 or 5 different guys get carries at running back. So I think it shows that in the CFL, you can say it as much as you want that it's going to take everyone in this room to get to where we want to go. But until they have something like this where it truly shows that it is, you might not believe it. So I think we're a work in progress, just like anyone at the halfway point should be.
At the risk of saying you said it first, you did bring up Hamilton first. What did you see on the film from that game?
Yeah, I mean, just things that, I think everyone after a loss like that looks inward. I mean, that's another reason why I really like our players. But, with me, I'd like to change some things, put us in a better situation to win. I'm the coach. It stops with me. I can put our players in better situations. So we'll look to do that in BC, and we'll try to get better this afternoon in this meeting and then tomorrow at practice.
Can you tell me about a balanced offensive attack and how important that is? Your team is 4-0 this season when you put 100 yards on the ground, no matter who it's with or how it's with. How important is that balance?
Yeah, I think it's important for the offensive line, and I think it's also important for so the defense, just can't pin their ears back and rush the passer. I mean, we have a great quarterback, a guy who's going to the Hall of Fame, but you still need to be able to help the offensive line protect him. The quarterback helps. Running the ball helps the receivers get open more. It helps the offensive line protect better. It helps the quarterback have bigger windows maybe, So I think balance, right? So they can't just be one-sided, all run or all pass is very important for victory at all levels of football, but especially here in the CFL with the 3 downs.
Your quarterback talks about how much he loves going no huddle and using that tempo offensive style to keep rhythm or gain rhythm. How do you see using that and that being a tool, I guess, in your toolbox?
Yeah, I think it's something that you have to have ready to go. I mean, I think whether it's the end of the game or during a drive, right? And there are many reasons you could use it, right? If teams are substituting a lot, you can try to do that to keep them from substituting and things like that. So I think it's an important part of our game, but I think it's important for us to, sustain and be on the field. I mean, we pride ourselves on being a winning time of possession here, and we somehow still did in Hamilton, even though we only did it for 4 minutes. The fourth quarter wasn't good enough. So if we're on the drive, we're on the field for maybe 4 more plays in the fourth quarter instead of 5, I think we're probably a little happier now.
Tell me a little bit then about your quarterback and how he is seeing the game. It seems remarkable to me how he's able to direct traffic. The last couple of weeks he's had young receivers in there, never flinching and just continually growing in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, from a fan standpoint, I admire the way he plays. I mean, it's very impressive. He has great eye level. He stands in the pocket. He'll hold on to the ball a half second longer to get hit or make a big play. And from a coach and teammate point of view, I'm very grateful to have him. I think he's playing at the highest level, and I think the best part about Trevor is he works so hard that he should continue to get better.
Your offense starts fast, and you like to end fast too, if you will. Going into halftime, your team has been remarkably efficient in putting points up on the board doing that, and it shows on the scoreboard, it shows on the win-loss column as well. How important and what's working late in those 3-minute drills?
I don't know. If I did know, I think we'd do it earlier. But I think maybe it's just you get into the game a bit. You get hit first, you get hit one time, you have a first catch, and then you get into the flow of the game and kind of get a feel for how the other team's going. But if I could figure that out, we'd do it from the first snap instead of just the end of the first half.
Coach, appreciate your time as always, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Saskatchewan Roughriders offensive coordinator Mark Mueller chatting with our very own Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, coming off that loss in Hamilton and looking ahead to what's in store this week. Didn't get back to practice until today, but they sure were keeping busy on the field there. So more Riders stuff to come throughout the afternoon. We do have a couple of other conversations that we would like to get to here, but first we should talk about a few things that took place yesterday, Colson. Toronto Blue Jays pulling off a pretty big win over the Tampa Bay Rays. They play them again tonight, but a 10-5 win. Alejandro Kirk showing up, and Okamoto.
Yep.
Home run
wasn't the biggest win in baseball yesterday, but it's still good.
We're gonna get to that, okay? Oh, that was painful to watch. Anyways, The Jays, they did beat Tampa. Kirk was lights out. Okamoto, as I mentioned, set Blue Jays rookie home run record with number 25 on the year. So that was a solo homer. Yeah. I have a feeling we might bring up the whole Mariners debacle yesterday.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a minute. But I was talking with Colin Lovequist right before getting onto our show here, and he was losing his mind. Like, what are they doing? This is awesome, right? So now hopefully we got a little bit more in the tank for today. But, I mean, we got one. That's almost the most you could hope for, right?
Yes.
In this series, so.
It is tough. I like to think that it's because Buck Martinez was there.
Oh, that would help, absolutely.
There's pictures of him in the stands enjoying it, and then everybody was getting mad at the Toronto Blue Jays and because they didn't put him up in a suite. He got an aisle seat, though, in his row.
Yeah. Also,
that's prime real estate.
Like, yeah, the Blue Jays could, like, push for him to get a suite, but, like, at the end of the day, it's up to the Rays, right? So,
Yeah.
And maybe he didn't tell them he was coming. Maybe he just said, I'll just buy a ticket.
I'll just show up.
I haven't done this in years. Wonder how different it is. So,
Well, I just wonder if the internal dialogue through that man's brain is just him still calling play-by-play. He did look very focused in all the videos I saw. Yeah, exactly. And Kirk stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
I could see it. Because when you do it for as long as Buck Martinez did,
it's automatic.
how do
right?
you turn it off?
Yeah. It's one of those things where you've done something for so long. Like, my old job, audiovisual stuff, I'll walk into banquet halls now and start looking at things and go, no, I'm here to drop something off or whatever it is, right? You just got to turn that part of your brain off.
It's impossible.
It depends on how long you did something. For Buck's case, yeah, he's done it a long time. I don't think he's ever going to not do play-by-play in his head.
It's like my partner there, Dane, he's a bricklayer.
Oh, yeah.
Been together for about 13 years. So anytime we're walking around, that repointing looks awful.
And it gets to the point, though, where you start to see it, too, now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'll be like, that brick looks terrible.
Yeah, you don't know what's wrong, but you know you're like, something's off there, right?
Yeah, you brought it up enough times to me. So before I know it, I'll be a Red Seal.
There you go.
Journeyman
Well, it's the
bricklayer
same
too.
with, like, my dad used to he used to be the president of a fuel hauling, right, business. So I know little bits and things about semi-trucks that most other people wouldn't. And then he was also a firefighter and a fire chief for 20 plus years. So
whenever he comes to your house, he's pointing out all the fire hazards?
that, or I walk into a building and I'm like, hey, I haven't seen a fire extinguisher yet.
That's probably good.
That's a good one.
You'd be a good guy to travel with.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But still, there's stuff like that where you're like, okay. Or I can go, there's fire alarms in every room in this house. So the code is very recent, whereas it used to be just kitchen, near the bedrooms, furnace.
If the
That used
batteries
to be
are dead, it's fine.
But anyways.
Well, Buck Martinez, get that man season tickets and put him on the road again with the Jays because it seemed to work for them last night. Let's see if they can pull it off again this afternoon. Again, 4:40, they're going to be playing the Rays again. Little League World Series also going down. I haven't found the scores yet because this website is terrible.
Yeah.
But Canada plays at 3.
Canada plays at 3. It is 0-0 right now from what I'm seeing.
Okay, during the break, I'll find it.
I'm trying to see if it's the bottom of the first. So Canada is playing Asia Pacific, which, to narrow that down, Little Mountain out of Vancouver, BC is playing West Seoul out of South Korea.
Okay, and the Canadian representatives, Little Mountain Little League.
Yeah. And then there's also a U.S. game going on right now. To summarize the Little League World Series for people that don't know, there's America half of the tournament and an international half of the tournament, and the winner of those two face each other in the final. You can lose once and then go to the B side of the tournament and still make your way back in, but if you lose twice, you're out. That's all you need to know.
Ruthless for a kid's sport.
I mean,
you gotta give him a chance. I mean, if you bust your tail all season getting to that point, you think you'd give him at least more than 2 shots.
Fair,
but what do I know?
Yeah, I'm not huge into baseball already as it is. So it's just kind of a thing of like, man, the fact that we're going this hard out for 11 and 12-year-olds already seems like a bit much to me, but hey.
Hey, it's still an exciting time
it is.
For those kids. So
absolutely. I'm glad they get to experience it.
So hopefully we'll see a win from Canada today. Also with baseball, we should mention our SportsCage.com poll. You and I were talking about this a little bit off air. Loaded question, right? I mean, are the Jays going to make the playoffs? Technically, right now, if it were to end, yes, they will. But can they keep it up?
That is the question.
Can Kirk's bat stay hot?
Can Vladdy wake up when he's back?
Well, and that's also been part of the conversation. Where exactly do you put him in the rotation? Like, where do you put him in the lineup when he comes back? Because you don't want to move Kirk either, because he's been on fire. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, you put him back in, but it's just where?
Yeah. No, sorry, Vladdy. We're going to sit you. The team's been doing so good.
It's been over a year since he's got a home run in Toronto, though. So that's got to be weighing on his mind as well. It's probably turning into a bit of a mental issue in addition to a physical one.
Yeah, you just hope he's not thinking about it every time he steps up to the plate. It's more of a, there's another one, but... And actually, Toronto is out of the wild card right now.
Oh, after last night's later games?
The Twins have one more win. So it's between the Blue Jays and the Rangers. Both have 62 wins right now. The Blue Jays have one more loss than the Rangers. So it's tight. Because then you've also got the Guardians and the Orioles and the Tigers all at 61 wins. Thank you, Mariners, for dropping down to 59.
In the 22-0 loss.
Yeah. Like, oh my word.
It was, at that point, you kind of have to laugh if you're one of their fans. Like, you do, right?
Yeah.
As a Mariner fan, like, okay, the Rodriguez...
The error at the end of the game.
The error at the end of the game where he tosses the ball into the crowd because he thinks that there was 3 outs, but there was only 2.
Yeah. And it's the bottom of the 8th. It's not even the end of the game yet. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you can tell the players are just, they're washed. They're drained at that point. Well, once you get to, down by 22 points in a baseball game, I can understand why.
Yeah. And once I get a push notification saying this is the largest imbalance since like 1888 or something, once I get that.
Tied.
Yeah. Once I get that notification, I'm kind of like, oh, something happened. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because I usually don't subscribe to Mariners updates on my phone, but we'll see what they can do to bounce back.
You think they can do any worse?
Never say never.
I'm not going to say never, but I'm just saying, do you think they can do worse?
Has there ever been a team that's gone down by more than 22?
Didn't the Blue Jays have a rough series at the start of the season where they were like, it was like 40-something to 5 at the end of the series?
Oof. But that's a series.
Yeah. But, like, still, you have to lose by multiple double-digit games there to get to that kind of series. And it was either the Blue Jays lost or they won it. It was either early this year or last year, I remember. It was early on in the season, and everyone was like, oh, no, or, oh, cool.
So the largest margin of victory for a Major League Baseball, 31 runs. Chicago White Stockings?
Oh,
Chicago White Stockings, yeah. So that would have been 1882. Yeah. How do you even document that from the 1800s?
Somebody's got newspaper clippings somewhere.
We'll say maybe modern day era. I feel like this is a little bit more legit.
Yeah.
Allegedly, the largest blowout here, Texas Rangers beating the Baltimore Orioles 30-3 in August of 2007.
Ouch.
So it could be worse, Colson, to answer your question.
There we go.
It could be 30-7.
It's debatable, though. The goose egg also looks bad, right? Mm-hmm. Like, getting shut out doesn't look good. So what's worse? 30, what was it, 33?
Yeah, 30-7. Or 30-3.
30-3.
I'm looking at the wrong thing.
So what's worse, 30-3 or 22-0? Again, the score is a little bit farther apart, but you scored 3 runs.
At least in this case, the Orioles, they did actually get a couple guys home. So... well, it could have always been worse. We'll put it that way. Jays, again, play again this afternoon. And remember how we were talking yesterday about picking their fantasy football draft order and they were doing a pitching challenge with their coaching staff?
Yeah.
I found one better. An NFL player deciding your fantasy draft order.
That was DJ Moore, wasn't it? I think I saw
DJ Moore. There was a Bills fan who had a whole whiteboard sign and just hung it over the front in front of his seat. And he actually came up and Moore picked everyone's positions for them.
Yeah, I'm just grabbing it here. Give me 1 second because I knew I had it.
That's got to be, like, whoever did that, whoever came up with the decision to try this and actually was successful, they got to be the commish of the league.
Oh, probably.
You have to be now.
Yeah. The thing that I found funny is right here, he goes to write, like, the bottom right guys, he goes to write on his name, and then the pen doesn't work, so he skips over and comes back, and he ends up last. Yeah. It's like, oh, no.
Hey. That's
Get a
fate.
working Sharpie.
That's fate.
Oh, boy.
But I do like that. I think it's kind of fun. You got to get a little creative. No one wants to just use a generator. Right, Colson?
I mean, then you don't have anyone to be mad at, though, right?
That's true.
Then it just is what it is. You can be mad at yourself or people who scheduled the time of the draft, because that can be changed. But if it's just randomly generated, then, whose fault is it?
Fair.
So
You did pull off a good sprinkle yesterday, though, taking the spread in that WNBA game.
I don't watch enough of it to know for sure, but I was like, 10.5 points is pretty big. I feel like they can keep it close. And what was it, like a 7 point?
The tempo kept it tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I checked at halftime, and it was like 6 points, and I was like, oh, hey. It's not a blowout.
Yeah, the final there for the Fever, 101-95, beating the Toronto Tempo.
6 points.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark's first ever game in Canada. So you covered the spread, Colson. Nicely done.
I also learned apparently she was trying Canadian snacks and stuff with Sophie Cunningham, and not a fan of ketchup chips, which...
I don't trust a person who doesn't like ketchup chips.
I get it.
They're the elite chip. But I understand.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't have the right kind of ketchup chip.
I'm not going to give free plugs, but I don't remember which one it was anyways. But at the end of the day, you got to try it a few times before you can understand what's going on with it. So, like, I get it. First try, not sure what you're getting yourself into. I get it. But once you've had it once or twice, then you're kind of like, you know what?
These are good.
And especially growing up on it like we have. Like,
yeah, it's a little different. I hope she had a poutine. I don't know if that was part of her ventures out to Toronto, but there's going to be more of that.
There will be.
And then Cunningham will continue to get booed every single time she touches the ball. Do you blame him?
I don't watch enough WNBA, unfortunately, to understand the reference.
Oh, and we do have people chiming in on the text line, Prairie Land Rentals, 306-936-6262. I know this is a sports show, but if you want to chime in on your favorite brand of ketchup chips, I guess go ahead. We do have Where Do You Land Wednesday, though, before we have to go to break here, Colson. So Where Do You Land Wednesday is something new, and I think we even have not a sponsored intro for it yet, but an intro.
Where do you land Wednesday?
I hate
Is it
that
on ketchup
so
chips
much.
or...
No. We're not doing that today.
Okay.
I want to know where people... I can't get over that intro. It's so bad. It's good. The number 5 controversy.
Oh.
So I think Jaden Daniels, like, does he have a legitimate gripe here? Or has he turned a mountain into a molehill? Or a molehill into a mountain, I suppose. Because for those who don't know, I'm sure you've seen the memes. I'm sure that you've been all over this.
I am well aware, yeah.
LSU apparently made conflicting promises, told DJ Pickett that he could have number 5 during recruiting. Daniels believed the number would be protected after his Heisman Trophy winning season. So LSU allegedly created the problem. And then Daniels, his team sent over a cease and desist letter over a jersey number. And suddenly it's become a punchline with everyone. And it's kind of now become the best meme generator for 2026.
Yeah. To answer your original question, I think he's in the wrong here.
Yeah?
Because, like, I understand the whole name, image, and likeness thing. Like,
Okay.
you could technically have a say in it. But, like, I don't think even Joe Burrow's number is retired, right? And I'm not going
At
to...
LSU?
Yeah, I don't think it's retired. I think it's already been reused, too. And he won a Heisman and a national championship. And again...
Yeah, what makes you better than Joe Burrow?
I'm not going to compare the athletes because they're two different players, blah, 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 whatever. That's a whole different argument.
Yeah.
But, like, if the guy who accomplished one more thing than you is, and arguably a bigger thing because it's a team success then, not just the individual trophy, isn't having his number retired, that's a whole different thing, right? Now, then you go the other route, and Travis Hunter got his number retired at Colorado, but I think there's a whole lot of other incidences going into that one specifically. So, like, it's a case-by-case basis, and I don't think you as the player get to decide, hey, you're disrespecting me and my name by reusing my number.
I think
especially in college when they recycle so much.
You have to. There's only so many numbers that you can use.
Yeah.
Especially in football, where traditionally you only use certain groupings of number for certain positions in football.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to run out of numbers eventually, especially with how long and historic all of these, college teams are. It's unrealistic.
Yeah. I
think his PR team are the biggest losers here. Who didn't decide maybe we should advise him to stay away from this? Where do you land? Let us know.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious.
We know where the internet lands.
Yeah.
There's a few memes about this.
I don't completely put it on him, though, because, again, I think if you're a professional athlete, you should also have people in your camp who are
keeping you grounded.
Savvy enough to think, hey, man, let's not go die on that hill.
Yeah.
This could be a bad look.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
That's my opinion. I'm pointing fingers at the PR team. Where do you land Wednesday? You can let us know. Text us 306-936-6262 on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Join in on the YouTube chat as well if you'd like to have some say there, because I am curious to see what people are thinking right now. Okay. Oh, and Roscoe's still a Hawkins cheesy guy, by the way. He's not going for the ketchup chips.
Roscoe, that's A-okay. That's completely in bounds. Don't worry.
SaskTel pick the score. Let's do that right off the hop as well here. We are going to give you an opportunity to win today with SaskTel and, of course, tickets to Saskatchewan Rough Rider games. So you get some chances to call in every week. All you have to do, send in your score prediction. You can text those in the same place, 306-936-6262. Score prediction for the Riders and BC Lions this Sunday on the road, BC Place. What will the final be? The closest guess to the actual score is going to win $200 for SaskTel. And just for playing along, we're also going to be hooking you up with 2 tickets to the next Rider home game. So easy. Again, send in those score predictions. What's going to go down this weekend at BC Place, 306-936-6262. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back here with our next guest. Matt Young is standing by, so we'll talk some football here. It is the Wednesday installment of the Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products. Visit RMP today for a no-charge brake inspection and save up to $120 off GM genuine products, brake pads, and rotors. Okay. This is the Sports Cage. It's on the home of Rider Nation, 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products on this Wednesday. They have a RMP summer offer right now. Get a $25 SO gift card with the purchase of a vehicle health check and oil change package until August 31st. Sorry, I got that wrong in the last break, but I'm correcting myself now. So check them out. Regina Motor Products, okay? And, of course, join in the conversation anytime, 306-936-6262 on that Prairie Land Rentals text line. Still plenty coming up this afternoon, including more Saskatchewan Rough Rider updates following their first practice of the week at Mosaic Stadium earlier today. A couple of Scots joining us on the show, including Scott King of the Moose Jaw Warriors, Scott Schultz, of course, with the midweek sound off. Lots to get to here, but let's not keep our next guest waiting any longer. So let's head out on that Western Pizza guest hotline and say hello to our next friend, Matt Young. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, I'm not doing too bad. How are you guys doing?
I'm great. So for those who aren't familiar, and how could you not be, you are an editor, reporter, CTV Saskatoon. You do play-by-play for dang near every sport, Matt. You're busy.
Yeah, I love being in a play-by-play booth, doing Canada West football with either the Rams, the Saskatchewan Huskies, some WHL games on Access with the Regina Pats, and then, of course, I've been doing Saskatoon Hilltops play-by-play for about 12, 14 years now. In fact, I remember becoming play-by-play for the Hilltops when they started doing streaming for the very first time. It was way back in 2014. It was one camera. It was no score bug. It was a little bit different back then. It's got a lot better. So have sort of seen the ebb and flow of streaming and how it's sort of moved along technology-wise over the last few years. But I just love calling games. I love sports, love college sports and junior sports. And this time of year, my calendar starts to fill up. It's always a good time, and I really, really enjoy it. So, let's get it going on the gridiron. Hilltops, Huskies, Rams, doesn't matter. I'm there for it.
Oh, let's go. Well, let's start with where you were most recently. Saskatoon Hilltops game last week, 28-22 loss to Edmonton at home. I don't think anybody was calling that one. You were up in the broadcast booth. What stood out to you most about that game, Matt?
Yeah, it's interesting because a little story, a little background here. So everybody's always heard, and sometimes you hear about it in the States, of that high school or college football team that hasn't beaten their crosstown rival in 20 years. And they finally do it, and it kind of makes the news and makes national news sometimes. And I thought, this was just about on that level. I've been doing play-by-play for the Hilltops since 2014, 2015, 10, 12 years. And I couldn't remember the last time the Edmonton Wildcats came into Saskatoon and beat the Saskatoon Hilltops. And I remember thinking to myself, the Wildcats had lost that previous game against Regina by 55 points. The Saskatoon Hilltops are the defending national champions. And they're rolling into Saskatoon, a confident Hilltops team that the Hilltops had not lost to since 2009. I mean, you're going back to when Instagram wasn't even around yet. And so, to me, as a play-by-play guy, you're talking to the coaches before the game. You're getting some interesting storylines in that. And I was up in the booth and I thought, I think this Edmonton team is better than what they showed against Regina. They got some pieces, Marcos Saltero, Jacob St. Hilaire, but I didn't think that they would have the horses to beat the Saskatoon Hilltops. But I expected a better than 55-1 performance than what they had against Regina. And Hilltops go up 14-0, and you kind of think, here we go, the route is on. And boy, that Edmonton team, they clawed back like Cougars and Tigers and Lions all in one. I mean, if you ever get a cat in a corner, they'll fight. And they fought hard. They put together, I think it was a 7 or 8 minute drive in the second quarter, got a touchdown on the board. And then the third quarter, they got another touchdown and took the lead. And you start to see the legs wobbling a bit on the Hilltops. And this is kind of an interesting play-by-play lesson, because when you're doing play-by-play, and it doesn't matter if it's at the college or junior or WHL or CHL or NHL level, you kind of want to, when there's a historic moment happening, you kind of want to have that call ready to go. And I remember with about 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I remember grabbing an index card and thinking, we might see something here. And I started writing down a few phrases that I thought, what kind of captures this moment if the Edmonton Wildcats, coming off a 55-point loss, 17 years since they've won in Saskatoon. A lot of these players, some of them might not have even been alive, and they have a chance to do what I would say is a historic upset. And if you watch the final play, I came up with it. The Cats came back the very next game, and Edmonton get ready to roar. And it really kind of captured the moment. And I think for the Edmonton Wildcats, boy, that's such a huge lift for that program. And you'll see it on X if you look. Dustin Nielsen, play-by-play guy for TSN, he tweeted me. He said, "Great call." And I remember thinking this was a really historic moment. And congratulations to the Edmonton Wildcats. To be there in the booth for that, you're not there that often for a lot of those kind of interesting things. That was a good one. Now, make no mistake, the Saskatoon Hilltops, they're going to retool. You're not 24-time national champs for nothing. And anybody who's been in a high school or college or pro practice team, I expect that there might be a few more push-ups, might be a few more wind sprints, and they're going to right the ship. But that game really showed, at any level of football, any given Sunday, something can happen. And it was just interesting to see. It was a great football game. It was back and forth. Hilltops don't often throw 3 interceptions, don't often give up 100 yards in penalties. And you saw the score go the way it is. And hey, we got some great parity in the PFC this year. Thunder too are right there as well. It's going to be fun the rest of the way.
So a couple of follow-ups to that. First of all, what did you land on when it came to that moment at the end of the game? What was the phrase that you landed on the index card?
Well, I remembered because I thought the interesting thing is I hadn't had anything written down because honestly, I was thinking that just the likelihood of Edmonton coming away with a victory was so small. And I ended up writing down, Edmonton, get ready to roar. The Cats came back the very next game. They defeated the national champions, the Saskatoon Hilltops. And then I just kind of let the fans and sort of the team players celebrating kind of take the rest of it. And it's something that I'm going to remember for a long time. The Cats came back the very next day. Well, they came back the very next game in this case and pulled off a mammoth upset. Hilltops will be back. That's a good team. But it just goes to show a little bit about how, you kind of got to pay attention and have everything ready because you never know what can happen on any given Sunday in football. And I don't think it matters what level it is. That was an interesting football game.
You mentioned the interceptions for the Hilltops. You mentioned the fact that they gave up 28 points. So what do you think they are going to retool as they get ready for their next opponent?
Well, the Hilltops are an interesting squad this year. They got most of their offensive line back, but if you look at that game, they were put into situations where they were forced to pass the ball and move down the field quickly. And I think Griffin Sander and company struggled with that a little bit. Some timing was off with some receivers, and a couple of those interceptions were in the end zone. So I think if you're the Hilltops, you're probably going to try and really make sure that things are crisp and smooth, and your timing with receivers is bang on in practice. They got some great guys, Luke Bednarik, and they've got Talon Coquet, they've got Charles Sawe. But the Hilltops lost a few guys at receivers. They're young this year. There is no David Boyd Jr. David Collins is gone. gone. Isaiah Valteruten is gone. So there's a little bit of having to kind of retool and get that game going. I think they'll do that. Tom Sargent is a fantastic coach. They got a great offensive coordinator and great receivers coach. And no doubt it's going to be intense, and I expect quite cerebral in practice this week for the Saskatoon Hilltops. They don't lose very often. They very often don't lose at home. And I think for them, that was a bit of a wake-up call that, hey, you can't, obviously, you got to treat everybody seriously. I believe that they do, and they did. But they've got to start making sure that your quarterback to receiver combos and that your throws and everything like that are on time, that you judge distance well, because if you don't and you're put into a situation where you have to pass, it becomes difficult to move the football down the field. And I expect that will be one thing that they'll work on in practice. The other thing is that Tom Sargent does not like penalties. 122 yards in penalties, that's quite uncharacteristic of the Saskatoon Hilltops. And you can bet that they're going to make sure that they're well disciplined for the next game that's coming up against Calgary Colts.
So in the PFC, let's slide down the number 11 highway here a little bit and talk about, the Regina Thunder. They end up coming out and beating Calgary pretty handedly. What impressed you about their performance in that game?
The Regina Thunder, they do so many things well, and they're coached so well. Scott Schultz is fantastic. This is a team that, again, has had to retool a little bit at some positions. The one thing that the Regina Thunder do so well, they play well defensively, and they take care of the football. They come out with a big win in week 1, obviously, against the Edmonton Wildcats. I think they had something like 30 first downs in that game. They chew up clock. This is a tough, hard-nosed football team down in Regina, and there's a lot of determination after last year losing in that PFC final. I really believe that's a team with a chip on their shoulder. Absolutely. There's a feeling, I believe, of unfinished business down there, and they want to take care of it this time. I know that there's been a lot of work in the offseason, and I think that Regina Thunder team is going to be right there with it. That PFC Conference Championship is going to go through Saskatchewan one way or another, but boy, that September 26th matchup in Saskatoon, they'll face each other twice this year. Those are always good football games. I say everybody down in Regina and in Saskatoon, whenever it's Hilltops and Thunder, you are in for a game that is going to come down to the last play almost every time, and sometimes it goes into overtime. Those games are fun to watch, and I'm excited for when the Hilltops and the Thunder clash later on this season.
One of the players that really jumps off the stat sheet in that last game for the Regina Thunder as well, Peter Borsch. He rushed for 33 times that day. I think collectively he had like 246 yards total between rushing and receiving.
Yeah, you know what? I watch him play, and I think I referred to this on a broadcast. He's kind of like a freight train with shoulder pads. He just runs. He absolutely is not afraid to take contact. He finds holes, he finds space. He's very agile, and he moves well with the football, and he can really turn on the jets. And when they play anybody, you've got to be able to him. He's a fantastic young football player. Built, he's got some muscle. He can catch and he can run the ball just as well. So they can use him kind of anywhere. He's absolutely a guy that if I were the Regina Thunder and I were really any team playing against him, you're going to have to key up on him. And Peter Borsch, if the Regina Thunder do get to a national championship and win it this year, he's going to be one of those guys that's going to help carry him there.
Well, and of course, we have to single him out. There's so many, impressive performances that came out of that Thunder game, but he practices with the Riders, right? He's with the Riders, so that's a name very familiar.
Go.
In fact, we're going to hear from him later on the show today in our junior football report.
There you go. What's really interesting is for the Rams and the Hilltops, both of them, there's always a couple of guys. You're really kind of watching some future CFL football stars. Many of them are going to get invited to Rider Camp or other potential CFL camps, and that's also what makes the PFC so fun, is you're kind of really seeing the stars of tomorrow today. Same up in U Sports with the Rams and the Huskies, but Peter Borsch is definitely a guy. He's got legs, and like I say, when he's coming at you, he's going to put his full weight of his body down to try and get through you. It's tough to bring him down, and I just love the way he plays and his passing for the game.
So how important is this next game for the Saskatoon Hilltops, understanding that they came off that heartbreaking loss at home?
Yeah, you know what? For the Saskatoon Hilltops, so they sit 1-1. They've still got a couple of games left in the regular season against the Regina Thunder. They got an Edmonton Huskies team also in front of them that's pretty good too. So if you're the Saskatoon Hilltops, you don't want to fall to 1-2. They're playing a Calgary Colts team that certainly is beatable, but a team that you're not going to easily dominate. So I think for the Saskatoon Hilltops, one, they cannot afford to take penalties. They especially can't afford to take penalties at key times, whether they're pass interference penalties on defense or on offense, on plays into the end zone. They cannot afford to do that. The other thing, as I mentioned, timing on receivers. They've got to make sure that Griffin Sanders and his receivers are ready to go and they're timed out well. And the third thing I would say, blocking and tackling. You know what? Darren Curry in that game with the Edmonton Wildcats, there were some plays where he was almost running right through a big crowd of blue and gold jerseys. They've got there were some good tackles that they made at some points, but I think that Tom Sargent is going to want his guys practicing fundamentals and blocking and tackling. When you have a chance to get a guy down, you want to get him down. You want him spinning off you, 2 or 3 or 4 times and getting down the field. They're going to have to play composed. They can't afford many mistakes, and they can't afford to put themselves in a situation where they're forced to pass the ball and move down the field real quickly. You don't want to be doing that too often if you can avoid it. They're going to have to play some pretty good football because that Calgary Colts team is going to be hungry. There's a program, I think, that also may be on the rise there. So that's going to be a fun game this weekend. But yeah, that's where I think the Hilltops kind of really need to work. Special teams, tackling and blocking, penalties, and linking up Griffin Sander with their receivers.
Well, Colson, I think we just scooped his 3 keys to the game before the broadcast, so we love that.
That did all the homework.
You heard it here first. Yeah, well, there you go. Let's shift to Canada West for a little bit here, shall we? Because we're getting really, really close to that kicking off here for the Rams and, of course, the University of Saskatchewan Huskies. And I'm excited to see some preseason action finally getting underway. I mean, reigning Hardy Cup champions. They made it to the Vanier Cup last year in the U of S Huskies. And then the U of R Rams. I mean, come on. They got their first preseason game in Medicine Hat this weekend. What are you watching for in these exhibition games?
Oh boy, there's a lot of interesting storylines for both teams really coming into this season. So let's start with the Regina Rams, shall we? You got a guy, Noah Pelche, he's in his 5th year. I mean, this is a quarterback that, remember, played in a playoff game way back in 2022, right? So he's in his 5th year. They got a very experienced quarterback in him, but then they also have Owen Sieben, who played last year as well, played in that Hardy Cup, and number 17 shows that he can play as well. He's in his 4th year. So they kind of have what I call the good problem to have in football. You got 2 great quarterbacks. They're vets. They're pretty experienced. You're going to have some depth there. Mark McConkey will have some decisions to make on how he wants to handle that. But at quarterback, I think the Rams are going to be solid. Renzel Arenaza and Marshall Erickson, 2 fantastic, dynamic players. You want to see both of them obviously facing some injuries. Are they going to be back? I hope that they will be. And then you have some key players on defense that are going to be back. One guy that a lot are hoping for is Jacob Tkachuk. Played in the East-West Bowl. I think he actually might have gotten injured in that game, but we're going to see if he can come back. That Rams team is going to be good. They got a lot of players that are going to be returning. And then you look for the Saskatchewan Huskies. They lost a lot of players. I mean, they lost a few of them. So gone is Riker Frank. Gone is Daniel Weed. Gone is Derek Bobium on the offensive line. Rhett Vavra, Jaden Angle, Seth Hundaby. Those are some really key elements on offense that the Huskies lost last season. But they're going to be back with some guys that showed that they could play, some 2nd and 3rd year guys. So you're looking at Reese Cack in his 4th year, Reese McCormick, Charlie Parks, Nathan Goulet. You have Mason Grabowski, who caught a touchdown pass in the playoffs last year. He kind of sort of showed himself of what he could be. He's a big target. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Ray Elgard. Tyrus Flory and Dawson Lenny are receivers that are going to come into their own. And then a lot of big storyline, obviously, around Anton Amador, right? The quarterback for the Saskatchewan Huskies last year, going down, fighting cancer. And then a lot of people hoping that he comes back as well. Huskies tweeted out on Instagram a picture of number 11 out there. So, a lot of people are pulling for him. I think the Saskatchewan Huskies are going to do some damage this year. Scott Flory is a great leader. He's a great coach. And more important, players love him, and he knows how to put a team together. And they don't have to all be 5th years. They can be 2nd, 3rd, or 4th year guys. Honestly, if I looked at Canada West right now, and I sort of had a coaches poll in front of me, they come out with that every year. I haven't seen it yet. I would say the Hardy Cup, the conference championship, is probably going to go through Saskatchewan somehow, either through Regina or through the Saskatchewan Huskies up in Saskatoon. Those are two programs that have been firing on all cylinders. They've got a lot of big pieces put together. They've got experience, and they've got some great coaches. So I think college football, when it gets started, is going to be fun. As you mentioned, the Rams got that preseason game coming up, Saskatchewan Huskies as well. And once they get rolling, those two teams, they'll face each other twice this year, and it's going to be exciting. But I expect both of them to be in the upper echelon of the Canada West standings this season, and I would expect that the Hardy Cup in some way or form is going to go through one of those two teams.
You know, I find it interesting. We talk about PFC and then we talk about Canada West, and that I think a lot of people are with you, Matt, where they're predicting that, a lot of those finals are going to have to go through Saskatchewan one way or another. You look at the CFL with the Huskies and the Rams. I think there's 10 from, 10 alumni that are currently playing pro football at the CFL level. What is it about Saskatchewan and the talent that's being produced here right now? Is it because of all the dedicated coaches, volunteers? Is it the programs? And what are you seeing being involved at so many different levels?
Yeah, it's interesting because when you look at last year, it was the Hilltops that won the national championship at the PFC. You got the Huskies that got to the Vanier Cup, Huskies and Rams in the Hardy Cup. That was the Canada West Conference Championship. Of course, the Riders. So it was kind of an all Saskatchewan feast when it came to football championships last year, which was exciting for fans here to see. The pipeline is noticeably bigger for Saskatchewan football players over the last 2 or 3 years. I've absolutely seen it. You're seeing it with guys like Daniel Weeb, played for the Huskies, now making his mark with Saskatchewan Roughriders. You got the Sean Mims and players like that. I think what it is you have a level of dedication, and you have a level of experience, and you have a level of prowess, and you have a level of recruitment that is firing at its highest peak right now. You talk about, it's interesting because 10, 20 years ago, recruiting players was different, right? You didn't have Twitter, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have Instagram. So when you wanted to scout players, it was, what video could you find from a high school game? What guys could you send over to whatever city to find players? It's changed the game a little bit. Technology has really changed recruiting, and the Saskatchewan teams, I know, have absolutely embraced it. Look at the Saskatoon Hilltops, finding guys from the United States to come up and play for them. I mean, when you look at how players are brought in, when you look at how they're developed, the facilities that they have, it's absolutely incredible. And I think you're seeing more and more players at their younger age, whether it's high school or when you get to the CGFL, they want to come to Saskatchewan because they see the success. And they say, I want to play there too. I want to go to Regina or Saskatoon or even to smaller high school programs like Moose Jaw and Prince Albert because they see, this is kind of a pipeline. And once you get that going, that snowball's hard to stop. And that's why I think when you look around at a lot of the junior and college teams in Saskatchewan, and even some of these high school teams, you look at football Sask, I think you're sort of in an era right now where the province of Saskatchewan, they're churning out the best of the best when it comes to young football players, and they're sticking on CFL teams. They're getting those opportunities. It's wonderful to see. You're seeing investment, you're seeing fields, you're seeing even attendance at games. I mean, the Saskatchewan Huskies now getting up near 8, 9, 10,000 for some games. I mean, you're really seeing people come out. It's a testament to the volunteers, all the people that work behind the scenes, right down to those who bring out the padding and equipment for practice. It's really incredible, and it's paying off, and you're seeing Saskatchewan at the top of the heap when it comes to Canadian football.
Oh, Matt, I could sit here and ask you 1,000 more questions here, especially about CFL attendance numbers, but we might have to get you back on in the near future here to talk some CFL attendance numbers, because I know you track those incredibly well, but we are completely out of time here. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. We'll chat soon.
Yes, sounds like a plan. Of course, that was the one, the only Matt Young, who was joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. We are going to take that quick break. We'll be back in just a few. It's the Sports Cage, and it's on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Let's start off with your Saskatchewan Roughrider updates really quickly here. Samuel Emelis was back on the practice field today, and he is saying that he will be playing in BC on Sunday. Also back from the 6th game, defensive lineman Ali Saad, and of course returner James Letcher Jr. A couple of guys back for the offensive line as well. Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson were spotted at practice. Zach Fry, limited reps. And then Major League Baseball action, the Jays taking on the Rays yet again tonight. 4:40 is first pitch on that one. Canada currently playing at the Little League World Series. SportsCage.com poll, will the Jays make the playoffs? You can let us know, SportsCage.com. We'll be back on the other side with your midweek sound off with Scott Schultz, so hang tight. We'll be back after the news. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and SportsCage.com. Wednesday edition of the Sports Cage. Teagan Witko in for Barney. Colson's with me. Today's show brought to you by Regina Motor Products. And still to come, your junior football report. We're going to get into that a little bit later on. We'll hear from Antoine Brooks Jr. from Mosaic Stadium as the Riders got back on the practice field following that loss to Hamilton last week and preparing for the BC Lions this week. We're also going to hear from Scott King, who in the offseason, the WHL offseason, was named the new head coach of the Moose Jaw Warriors as O'Leary took a different job in the AHL. So very excited to have that conversation with him. If you miss out on anything on the show, you can always go back and listen to it in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts. And join in the conversation with us too. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Where do you land Wednesday? I thought this would be a dead-in-the-water topic of discussion by this point because it happened about a week ago, but people are still talking about it, and I think it's because the memes are just so good. But when it comes to Jaden Daniels, was he in the wrong going to LSU, sending them a cease and desist letter because of his number 5 being used? We know how producer Colson feels about it. What do you think? 306-936-6262. Maybe our next guest wants to chime in on this one. Time for your midweek sound off.
The Midweek Sound Off, powered by Revive Men's Health Clinic. Treatment for men's ED without pills or surgery. Discreet and confidential. Visit revivemd.com. Lakeview Insurance. Get a second opinion on your coverage with Scott Schultz and his team. Protecting what you built.
The one and only Scott Schultz joining us. So, what's the verdict? Scott, number 5 controversy. What do you think about Jaden Daniels?
Well, these guys, they need mental wellness checks. I mean, to me, I just can't even believe it. The entitlement and all the rest of it. I mean, LSU is an institution that gives many players, not just this guy, the opportunity and platform to achieve it, which he has. And I like, I heard Chad Ochocinco talking about this, and I agree with him. Like, this guy's in the league now. He's in the NFL. He's on to bigger and better things. I don't know why he's worried about, something that happened in college and some kind of entitlement or, ego that he's dealing with. So, yeah. Typical offensive or defensive lineman take. Don't like it.
Don't like it. Yeah, let the kid wear the number. Damn.
Yeah.
But it has given us some of the best memes of 2026. So at least there's that silver lining.
Absolutely.
Let's talk some CFL riders specifically. Last week in Hamilton, your major takeaways during that loss in Steeltown.
Well, I mean, it wasn't a 60-minute, physical beating. It was just the failure to adjust in the last 15 minutes. I mean, we led 19-10 going into the fourth quarter, and there was 16 unanswered points.
So how important is it for them to turn the page quickly, stop focusing on that, and look ahead towards a team they've already beat once this season in the BC Lions, but they are kind of hot right now?
Well, they are picking up, and they're getting steam, which we all knew kind of what would happen. A lot of these teams have that ability to. It's just a matter of will they do it, and BC is actually charging. But it's next play mentality. I mean, you can't dwell on this. It is a long season. There's 18 games. We are currently 6-3, and you cannot dwell on the past. You need to be able to kind of just change the attitude and get focused on what's ahead of us.
Last time the Riders played BC, it was a shootout, right? It was 31-27. I think Harris got another 400-plus yard game, but that was all the way back in week 2, if I remember correctly. So how much of that tape are they going to use? How much, confidence does that give them, knowing that they have had an opportunity to beat this team already this season?
I think it's good because it was kind of that back and forth battle. There was big numbers produced on both sides. And, the ability for us to take that win at home does give some confidence. Now, there's been meaningful games in between, and these guys, these guys are going to be studying that tape and queuing in on how BC has come on their recent rise. And so you've got that confidence from the first meeting, but then you've got you've got the game tape and the diligence to see what's cooking right now.
BC has the league's top rushing offense, I think 117-ish yards per game, while Saskatchewan has the second best run defense. So is that the matchup that maybe determines this game, or what are you seeing?
Well, definitely. I mean, you got to stop the run. The biggest thing is, and it is, I mean, you could apply this to almost every game, and it becomes a bit cliche, but Teagan, really it boils down to you got to make your opponent one-dimensional somehow, some way. So that either means making them pass or making them run, and you got to take away one. And so typically, if we can focus, get the gaps under control, we've got our D linemen. I think they're playing good. It's just we haven't had the statistical stats to back it up. But I mean, they are getting pressure and they're doing great against the run. So if we can shut down that run, make them more one-dimensional, and that's where you can focus and make Rourke make some mistakes.
Xander Horvath is kind of scary, though. How do you slow him down?
Well, you can't overlook him. I mean, he's dangerous because it's balanced, and that's what, in my day, that was I can remember going up against Calgary all the time, and they had great running backs and great quarterback play, and they were so balanced. And if you couldn't get them one-dimensional, it was going to be a pretty long night. So that's what this reminds me of. And so for Horvath, I mean, again, you can't let him get started. He had 102 yards last game. The performance means the Riders cannot devote everything to Rourke and the receivers. So, again, they've got to have some success on first down.
And, on the flip side, Saskatchewan 4-0 when they rush for 100-plus yards in a game. So after only putting up 19 points in Hamilton, how important is it for them to reestablish that run game this week? And who do you expect to maybe show up? I mean, Starr looked pretty decent last week.
Yeah, he looked great last week. I mean, you got to go with the most healthy people, so they're going to hold those cards close to their chest. But again, I think that the offense has been great, and the coordinator has been able to adjust on the fly for most games, and it has been exciting football, and there have been some points put up. So I'm not so worried about the offense and what they're going to be able to do. The biggest thing is we got to be able to eliminate catastrophic mistakes, turnovers. I mean, I think there's 8 penalties for over 100 yards. I mean, that is a game killer when you're trying to win.
So if you're Corey Mace this week, what are you telling the team inside that locker room?
Oh, if I'm Corey Mace, I guarantee you, he's got confidence, the swagger, and the experience to just, I mean, they will be able to navigate through this. I mean, it's one loss. The sheer fact that the Riders are, like other teams, are dealing with the injury carousel, but the depth of the team to have a 6-3 record fighting through all of that. In years past, we didn't have, the depth or the locker room and things, went south. But I think the club has built, and Jeremy O'Day deserves a lot of credit, all the credit for picking that staff and picking the players that he's picking, because they are definitely able to cover themselves and next man up mentality.
Well, and we are seeing a couple of the guys jump back onto the field. I mean, Samuel Emelis was practicing today. He was telling media, I'm playing on Sunday. So how important is that?
Big time. Anytime you can get an injured guy back on who was previously a difference maker, it really uplifts the team. And a lot of the guys too, like they're so anxious and so ready to be back on the field. It's and I think the team's doing a real good job of making sure that these guys, in fact, they're not coming back early. They're coming back and are going to be able to make a contribution. And that's what we've seen all season. So I'm excited for it.
Well, and I'm sure it's exciting to get back after, you deal with an injury. How frustrating is it to watch on the sidelines, though, when maybe your position group isn't firing on all cylinders like you're familiar with them doing?
Well, like I said, in the past, and to the layman, a lot of people focus in on the statistics that show up as tackles for loss or sacks. A lot of the times, when coaches and other players talk about ball, you're looking at other things like, are we getting penetration? Are we keeping contained? Are we getting to the football and making plays? Sometimes the sacks can be elusive, but you can contribute in other ways. Now, I'm not saying that they don't need to pick it up a little bit. I'm just saying it's not as if they've been playing terrible. I mean, they're second against the run in the league, and I think with a new group of guys and a new coach, they're getting into that mid-season comfortability, and I think things are going to pick up as we head down the stretch and into the playoffs.
I was told BC Place is bringing back their watermelon smash this weekend. Have you ever attended?
Yeah, I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever witnessed it and stuff. But again, hats off to them. Anything to get the fans involved and whip up a lather and get that rivalry going. BC is certainly, in the early 2000s and 2010s, we're a great rival in the West for the Rough Riders, and I'm looking forward to a great tilt this weekend.
Well, this has got to be the matchup of the week, right? I don't see any other games that really jump off the page that sound more enticing to me, but maybe I'm biased, Scott.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got a rising team, and then you've got a team that has been at the level all season. I think it's definitely the game of the week, and the way I'm looking at it, just like the last game, I would say I think the score is going to be a little lower. I'm leaning more like 28 Saskatchewan, 24 BC. But I'm really excited to see this second half of the clash and of the series of the season, and just to see where these BC Lions are at, because I think there's no question Saskatchewan is the measuring stick for the rest of the league.
Colson, did you catch that? Book it. We got pick the score here from Scott Schultz, so we'll have to get you entered in for the prize now. Oh, one more thing I was going to ask you about the competition in Dawson Hodge coming in behind Alex Hale. That seems to be working. I mean, he did absolutely everything that was asked of him last week. What happens next? Do you think that they keep Dawson Hodge with the club, continue having that competition behind him? Or because now it's got to be consistent, right? That's the major thing. You did great last week, but now we need consistency.
Well, absolutely. And I don't think that, I don't think it's just, as simple as that. I think, you got to continue going with what's working. And then, of course, bodies matter and injuries and people on and off and how the roster needs to be set. So there's all those things to consider. I would like to see them keep them along and keep that competition going. And like I said, it's produced results. So I wouldn't change.
All right. Well, he went 4 for 4 last week. We'll see what he produces in BC this weekend, and we'll see how many watermelons they smash. I just want to see the videos from it. That sounds so satisfying after a long day.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's so great. I think, the CFL is coming along with their content, and if they can capture some of those kinds of things, those are the things that go a long way. It might sound silly and contrite, but those are the things that get a little bit of interest and pique people's curiosity of what's going on, and you'll get a little bit more buy-in.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that Rider fans travel really well, and let's be honest, they're everywhere. So you'll see a lot of green in the stands at BC Place.
Well, that the Rider faithful is going to show up and try to impact that stadium as best they can, and it is fantastic. I know the players truly appreciate that, because they don't see, a lot of these guys have been on other teams and had other stops, and they've traveled around the league, and it's kind of, us against the world kind of a mentality. But when the Riders take to the road, there's always that fandom that travels along and supports.
Well, enjoy the game on Sunday, and Barney should be back next week, I think, so you'll be stuck with him on Wednesday.
Well, it's always nice talking to you and breaking it up with Barney. He can be a little much sometimes.
I'll be sure to let him know that you said that. Scott Schultz in the Midweek Sound Off. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Awesome. Great talking to you, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. And of course, the Midweek Sound Off is brought to you by Lakeview Insurance. Get a second opinion on your coverage with Scott Schultz and his awesome team protecting what you've built. It is also brought to you by Gentle Procedures, Revive Men's Health Clinic, treatment for men's ED without the pills or surgery, discreet and confidential. Visit revivemd.com. It would help if I could give you the website. If you Google it, I promise it's one of the first things that come up. I think it actually is the first thing that comes up. But yes, revivemd.com. And of course, Scott Schultz was joining us on that Western Pizza guest hotline. I got to remind you here for all of those who don't have themselves signed up for the consistent auto renewal on the Saskatchewan Rough Rider 50/50 Foundation, you should probably get yourself a ticket because that deadline is going to be coming up here towards the end of the week. The game isn't until Sunday, so that does buy you a little bit of extra time. Friday night, 10 p.m., you got to get your ticket before then if you want in on the early bird prize as well as the 50/50 jackpot, right? Sparkling Hill Getaway for two this week. It's return flights from Saskatchewan to Kelowna. You also get 2 nights at Sparkling Hill Resort and a couple's escape package with a daily dinner and spa credit. You can also just take the money. Maybe you don't want to relax at a spa. That's fine. That's your prerogative. You can take $5,000 in cash. Riders 50/50. That's riders5050.com. And again, if you want to chime in about the Where Do You Land Wednesday, it's pretty clear right now. Everyone's feeling like, yeah, maybe he should have just let it go. Maybe you disagree with us. You can text us at 306-936-6262 on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Okay, we are going to take a quick break. Still to come, lots more. We're going to hear from Antoine Brooks Jr. We do still have your sprinkle of the day straight ahead. Ticker, we're going to catch up with Crofty. All that good stuff. And as I mentioned earlier, new head coach of the Moose Jaw Warriors, Scott King, will be on the program as well. So we'll take that break right now, and we'll be back. It's the Sports Cage on the home of Rider Nation on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Clutch performer time, Teagan and Colson with you. Now, I'm going to jump in here with the very first one because I feel like we need to mention this right off the hop.
Sure.
Today's a very special day to Rider Nation. August 19th, 1982. Darian Durant was born. Happy birthday to Doubles. Dang, we should have moved his hit this week to his birthday. Make him work on his birthday.
Yeah, I think he'd appreciate not. But
no, happy birthday to Darian Durant. Obviously, he joins us every Monday just after 5 o'clock. So wanted to make sure we got that in there. Do you want to go first? Or second, I guess? I got more.
Sure, I can fire mine off here. Going to we were talking Little League World Series. Mm-hmm. First game of this World Series. Nicaragua ended up beating, I think it was the Dominican Republic.
If you're watching the stream, by the way, those jerseys are sick.
Yeah, with a quick throw to home here. Gets the first. Yeah, you're out. First game. Play at home to win the game.
And he's waving the finger, too.
Yeah.
Like the pros do. No, if you're on the stream, you can watch it on there, but they do have like these, I don't even know what you would call that, like a bright teal and orange, sort of like a Miami Dolphins type of
very Miami
color
Dolphins
scheme.
Yeah.
They look pretty slick though. Nice play there.
Yeah.
Clutch. I like it. Toronto Tempo took it upon themselves to really capitalize on the opportunity that Caitlin Clark was in Toronto for the first time ever playing. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think she said in the press conference, the post-game press conference, first time ever in Canada, period. Never been there before. Sold out stadium. Fans showed up hours before the game started just to get a look at her, get an autograph with her. Like, it was a big deal. This is a big deal for WNBA fans. So because they had the largest crowd of the season for the Tempo, they thought it would be wise to use that night to unveil their 2 new mascots. And again, if you're watching the stream, you can see them. They are kind of adorable. Dot, the Arctic hare, and Dez, the snapping turtle. So they brought him out at halftime during this game with the Indiana Fever.
Is that a tortoise and the hare reference?
That is a tortoise and the hare reference.
There we
See,
go.
Tempo.
Okay.
Tortoise and the hare.
Okay.
You see what they did there?
I'm picking up on it. Yeah. It took me a second, but I'm getting there.
And I do appreciate the headband on the tortoise, if you will, the snapping turtle. It looks very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's white, but it's just the way it's placed. It looks fantastic. See? Do you see it when you put it back
I
up?
see what you're saying now, yeah. I wouldn't have picked up on that first, but yeah, now I see it.
That was the first thing I was thinking. They could have at least made it purple. What do I know? I'm not designing mascot costumes, but maybe that's my secret calling.
There we go.
We could look into that. We should talk San Diego Padres. I got another clutch one here because this was an incredible Grand Slam saving catch. Fernando Tatis Jr. just leaps up, robs it, leaping catch, and as he comes down...
Just the stare down.
And he's, like superhero power stance, fists clenched by his side, and just stares at the camera like, yeah, I just did that. Yeah, you did. Because that was a really impressive play. He looked like a baller in the process. I thought that was great. So San Diego Padres, Fernando.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I know we mentioned it right off the front of the show, but we also do have to give it unclutch.
Well, we could give the Blue Jays a clutch first for pulling out the win.
Okay, you give the good news.
The Blue Jays got a big win.
Yes.
Against the Rays. Mm-hmm. Big difference maker.
It's all about balance. I get it.
I mean, we could say it was clutch of the Mariners helping the Blue Jays out in their race by not competing, but Mariners fans might have a problem with that.
Yeah, they didn't even. That was hard to watch. And I only watched the highlights, if I'm being honest.
It was hard to watch the highlights.
It's bad when it's hard to watch the highlights. And the one highlight everybody is talking about today is when it was already 19-0. It was bottom of 8. Somehow the worst play of the game came after they were already down by 19. Julio Rodriguez not paying attention in the outfield. And then as he catches it, thinks the inning's done, tosses it into the stands. But there was only 2 outs.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So the Brewers went in to score again. So that's an unclutch. And yeah, the Mariners ended up losing that one with a final of 22-0.
Yeah, that's
not
bad.
The biggest on the record books, but it's up there.
Yeah. It's gross.
Not something to hang your hat on necessarily, but that's where we're at. Okay, I think those are all my clutch performers and the one on clutch. So it is brought to you by Kelm Solar.
I'll give my last one to, you sent this in regarding the Jaden Daniels memes.
Yes.
We're giving a clutch to the U.S. Department of the Interior. And you're like, what? Why? Well, first off, they have a pretty funny social media. And their X account posted, National Park Week starts in 4 days. They posted this yesterday. Mm-hmm. And we were going to announce this on...
yesterday.
The day before that, but out of respect, we waited. They left it completely open-ended, and those who know. But I don't think there's many national park goers that cross over into the football sphere, but
there might be.
I could be completely proven wrong on that, and I'm okay with that.
And one of the best parts about this post is it's just this lovely looking buffalo, I think it was.
Yep,
and their
little
4
buffalo family.
And the 4 little babies.
I think we'd call them calves.
Calves?
Yeah, because it is a cow.
Count them, that's 5.
Oh, there you go. This is never going to end.
This is
going to be going
end.
all NFL season.
I'm not mad about it. I'm really not mad about it. That's our Where Do You Land Wednesday, if you haven't chimed in on that yet, by the way. Outstanding majority of people are saying that he's absolutely overreacting when LSU allowed another player to wear the number 5. Again, it's the PR team's fault. No one else has been throwing hissy fits like this. Scott Schultz said it best. I mean, that's very entitled.
Yeah, very.
It is entitled. And you had to know in the age of social media where everything is documented online, everything is on social media, people are going to catch wind of that really quickly. And especially because, if I'm not mistaken, in the United States, most of those court documents, cease and desists and whatnot, they're public information. It might be the same thing here. But, I mean, anybody can just look that up.
Yeah.
So you're not keeping that under wraps. Also, fire your PR team after this week.
I think I saw somewhere that he's got 2 lawyers, and I'm like, really, you have 2 lawyers? And
between both of them?
Yeah, both of them. They didn't tell you that this was a bad idea? Like, ugh.
Buddy.
Yeah. This isn't a clutch performer, but kind of still in the vein of NFL talk. You know when players, like a veteran comes to a team, and they're like, hey, I'm number 17, like Devontae Adams when he went to the Rams?
Oh, yeah.
And Puka Nacua was 17. So it was like, oh, I got to pay him to get my number back or whatever. I think in that instance, Puka was already changing his number, so he didn't actually have to pay him or anything. But jersey trades, when a vet comes to a team, happens a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So Von Miller's going to the Cowboys, and apparently he wants number 40 as one of his options. But their fullback, Hunter Lapuke, I think is how you say it, is wears number 40. So apparently he offered him as a trade. Normally they offer money, tickets, blah, 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 whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Offered him a lifetime supply of chicken from Von Miller's farm that he co-founded.
A lifetime supply of chicken. In this economy, that's not a bad deal.
That's a great deal. For a jersey number? Like...
Yeah. Lifetime supply of chicken. That is one of the strangest I've ever heard of. Because you hear about, the luxury cars and...
Yeah. A staple is like, hey, I'll buy your family the new jersey number, right? Because now your family's got to all get new jerseys. So, like, I'll cover that cost. Don't worry.
Or here's a Rolex.
Yeah. Like, there's tons of things like that. But a lifetime supply of chicken. I haven't heard that one before. And I can't imagine many football players turning that one down, honestly. I'd have a hard time turning that down in any kind of trade.
I just want to hear how that negotiation went. Like, is it just that straight up where, hey, straight trade for trade? Or was there more conversation? Like, okay, do you mean just the eggs? Or do you mean the full chickens? Are you going to provide a chicken coop?
Are you just dropping them at my front door, a full feathered live chicken? Or are you, like, butchering it and everything, handling it for me? Like, I need to know here.
Are they coming prepackaged and frozen? Because I don't want to deal with all of the stuff that goes on behind it. There's a reason I live in the city, okay? And I don't, at that point, they can probably afford to just hire someone to take care of the chickens. Hey,
it's a weird one.
That one takes the cake. I will give them that much. It was creative and probably cost effective. So cheaper than a Rolex, I guess. That was
good chance.
Yeah, good chance. Well, I guess it depends on how many chickens, but still.
A lifetime supply is a long time.
Yeah, that's a lot of chicken. Okay, I should get to this. That was your clutch performers, and a little bit of extra. Just a little extra flavor for you. Your clutch performer brought to you by Kelton Solar. They know how to deal with your livestock operations, interestingly enough. You can book now for your solar quotes and your farm and your home, cabin, whatever you're looking for. Save money with the local company. That's Kelton Solar in Lumsden. And again, if you want to chime in on this Jaden Daniels situation, that's our Where Do You Land Wednesday. Text us. Prairie Land Rentals text line. From small power tools to skid steers, they probably have what you need. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street, and that phone number, 306-936-6262. Of course, this is the Wednesday install. I keep wanting to say Monday because I'm usually only on Mondays. I'm filling in for Barney today. Wednesday edition of the Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products. Visit them today for their summer offer specials. You get a $25 SO gift card if you happen to get that vehicle health inspection and oil change package. So hit them up. We should probably take a quick break here. We are going to come back. We got your sprinkle of the day and a couple of other interesting things that we're going to talk about. Plus, Crofty will be joining us, so hang tight. This is the Sports Cage. It's on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com. Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. A couple of text messages here that I wanted to get to here. I'm Teagan. I'm with Colson. Let me see. There is someone who just moved to BC, and they said that they are actually going to be hopping on a bus full of Rider fans going to the game on Sunday at BC Place.
Nice.
I made sure to ask them to smash a watermelon for me, and they have kindly obliged. So thank you very much.
Not as fun as doing it yourself, but hey, we appreciate it.
We could. Here's the thing, though. We're just in the studio. In theory, we could just go buy a bunch of watermelons. They're in season, so they can't be that expensive. It would be a mess. I wouldn't do it in the studio. We could do it on the corner.
That, and they're still, what did I see last when I was in the store? They're still like 12, depending on how big they are, $12 to $15 a watermelon, which is
worth it.
Astronomical.
Worth it. If I get to smash that thing, I wonder if there's roof access on the building, because then I could just go up there and drop it.
Isn't Drop Zone this weekend?
I believe it is.
There you go.
We don't hope for the same results.
No, I'm saying keep the watermelon up there.
Humans are rappelling down.
No.
And that's a little bit higher, Colson. That's 21 stories. That's for Easter Seal, Saskatchewan, by the way, if you aren't familiar. People, have you ever done it?
I have. at my old job, we did the video live streaming for it, and sometimes for whatever reason, oftentimes when like the weather gets really bad and gets really windy and they have to postpone it a day, then some people don't show up, so they have these extra time slots. So people who are volunteering or contributing, they'll be like, hey, do you want to go? And so I've gotten to go twice, actually.
You went a second time.
Like 2 different years, but
Still, I've done it once. I did also pick Drowning Pool Bodies as my rappel song, which I don't think everybody appreciated. But the second we got up there, because you have to ride the elevator up 21 stories.
Yep.
Colson, you know.
Yeah, I've had to set up stuff up there. I've had to ride that elevator a whole bunch.
It's a little frightening. And then you get up there and you're thinking, I'm doing this for a good cause. I'm doing this for a good cause. It's for Camp Easter Seals. I'm doing this for a good cause. Well, my turn was about mid-morning with Kirsten, who used to work here at the radio station. And I didn't realize that it was still windy and raining by the time we got up that elevator ride. And you have to, if you haven't done it before, you have to step over a ledge. And it's not a low ledge. They hook you up into your rappel and your harness, and then you have to step. I was so scared for my life. I've been invited back, but I still haven't. I haven't had the strength to do it again.
Yeah, I'm just used to being harnessed up from like rock climbing and stuff, so it felt similar. It felt similar enough to that, and then I'm like, okay, I can get up over here and whatever. Like, it feels more dangerous climbing a tall ladder, honestly, to me, right? Where you're not harnessed in, and especially if it's windy.
Yeah.
Now, between the hill towers there, it does get a little wind tunnely, so that's fun. But
probably the most incredible view that you're ever going to get, though, because the hill towers are mirrored on the glass, so you can see everything behind you and your terrified face as you rappel down, which is even more fun. It's a great experience. I recommend doing it, but
for a great cause too. Yeah,
I will only do it once. One and done. I'm good. That's cool. Okay, we should get to our sprinkle of the day now because I got distracted. And I forgot it was Drop Zone this weekend. Go cheer them on. Go to the farmer's market and go watch them rappel down that building. That's always a cool Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. We missed the window for Blue Jays. They just started.
4:40 first pitch. Yeah, we're 4 minutes late for sprinkle of the day, but that's okay.
Well.
That's okay. There's plenty of other things that we can look at. You can also get in on the sports action by going to sportsselect.com. Make your picks, generate the QR code, take it to your local lotto spot retailer. You can just go in person as well. But I don't know. I'm not a professional sprinkler. I like being able to play around, check out different lines, feel it out, see what the best bang for my buck is, and then sometimes sprinkle on things that are absolutely ridiculous and then whatever. I know what I'm getting myself into. Every bet is a 100% legal chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select, when you're ready to play, bet on the original. You must be 18 plus, and you got to play it responsibly. So, Colson, I'm definitely leaning on you today because you had a good day yesterday with our sprinkle. So I think you might need to help me.
It was a shot in the dark and it worked.
Well, that's usually how it goes.
You want to go futures? We want to go...
Let's go futures because I do want to look at the odds, how as they sit right now, midway through the CFL season, what the Grey Cup looks like. The Grey Cup odds. So I don't think
I'll give you a hint. Ottawa does not have good odds.
Yeah. Which is not what all of their players are familiar with, considering there's a good chunk of them that won the Grey Cup in 2025. Yeah. But here's the thing.
If you put a $5 bet on it at 418 to 1, if they do pull it around, that's $2,000. So
as you can imagine...
I'm not encouraging this.
No, that is the worst odd. Which, again, looking at records, looking at power rankings, it's pretty obvious who's at number 1 as well. The Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah.
So, $2.50 on that one. So, again, not exactly the best value, per se. I'm a little surprised to see BC at $9.25. That feels... Maybe it's because they haven't been surging for that long.
Yeah, well...
But now that Rourke is back...
Yeah, and I looked at futures, when was this? August 4th, so 15 days ago, 2 weeks ago. Brendan was hosting the show that day, and we looked at futures then. Hamilton was 35 to 1, and he, in our verbal bet, picked Hamilton. Hamilton's now 43 to 1, so they've gotten worse. BC was 22 to 1.
Oh.
Which I was like,
43
they're going to get Rourke back. They're going to get better. So BC's now 9.25. Yeah, to 1, which is still good value, especially with, again, they're surging. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make a run. Just kind of depends who they run into.
And I'm sorry, what did you say Hamilton was 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, they were 35 to 1. So
And now they're 43.
Yeah, so their odds have gone down. And
Even after a win last week.
yeah, well, Bo is still out.
Well, that's true. Is he coming back?
Not this season, I don't think. I think it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Which also sucks to see. Stamps, 775. You got Elk. Well, I mean, again, you look at the power rankings, they basically follow suit. Although Saskatchewan, Edmonton are neck and neck right now.
Yeah.
I thought that was 435 at first, but no, 425, 425, both were, Saskatchewan and Edmonton, pardon me.
Look at MOP, too.
Davis Alexander is kind of a no-brainer. Tyson Philpott. Cody Fajardo, okay.
Trevor Harris at 9 to 1.
And Cody Fajardo, he's higher than Harris right now. Nathan Rourke. I think, again, Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions stay hot. That's going to look a lot different.
I'm also very curious to see because, like, the biggest thing is Saskatchewan and Montreal don't play until, like, the last 3 weeks of the season, right? Last 3 weeks, last 4 weeks.
Well, they play the very last game of the regular season, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, don't they?
Saskatchewan, Edmonton. Saskatchewan and Montreal, though, it's the
yes. Yeah, it's the Thanksgiving weekend and the weekend after.
Yeah. I think so many of these numbers are going to change those 2 weeks because either I don't think it's going to be even if we split the series, I don't think there's going to be we don't know which team is better. I think one of the two teams will have a clear upper hand out of those two games. So even if, like, let's say
those are going to be fun games.
Yeah. Let's say Montreal wins by 2 scores and then the other game we win it by like 2 points, whatever, right? Then everyone goes, okay, Montreal's the better team. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's going to happen and that's going to further solidify some of these numbers then. So whether you think that's going to go in the Riders' favor or Montreal's favor.
Yeah, those are going to be two very crucial games. Oh man, I'm looking forward to those ones. I know the game at Mosaic Stadium is probably going to be a little on the more brisk side, but that's why I bought a heated jacket for the West Final last year because I knew how cold that game was going to be, and I do not regret that purchase whatsoever. I'll be the first to say it. But yeah, Trevor Harris, 9 to 1. Okay.
Yeah, I would take Harris.
I would.
At 9 to 1.
Yeah.
BMOP.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they go all the way.
Yeah.
Which you never know. Again, we might be slightly biased, but really
just a bit.
Quick here, as we have some time, I wonder, can we slide over really fast to see if there's any futures yet for the Super Bowl?
That there are. They're right up top
I'm just curious because, I mean, we're only into the preseason. Obviously, there is a ton that's going to change between now and February, but I am still just curious who they have at the best and worst odds.
They have so many futures. Hold on, let me find it. Da.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing a whole lot in here.
I'm just going to turn that off and go find it real quick.
Well, in the meantime, I do also want to quickly mention that we are playing SaskTel Pick the Score right now as well as we continue with our sprinkle of the day here in a second. But SaskTel Pick the Score, send us in your score prediction for this Sunday in BC for the Riders. What will the final score be? Send that in to us by text. You can also send in your name if you want a chance to win, because just for entering, you get some tickets to the next Rider home game. In addition to that, we're also going to be hooking up someone with a $200 SaskTel gift card, whoever's closest to the final score.
They do have futures up for the Super Bowl. LA Rams, to no surprise, are the favorite, paying $5.75. And you got the Bills paying 10 even, the Ravens paying 10.50, the Seahawks paying 11 for the repeat.
Okay, the Chiefs are down there.
Chiefs way down there.
Yeah, 15 to 1, 15.50.
Where are your Bengals at? Oh, they're down there with the Broncos and the Packers.
19 to 1.
Hey, I did see
Dante Myers. Watch.
Yeah.
He's gonna help him bring it in. Bring it to Cincy.
I also did see that they have the easiest strength of schedule this year.
Yes, I did see that as well.
I don't remember if the Patriots had the easiest last year, but theirs was up there.
It's just in terms of travel and opponents.
Yeah.
Logistically.
Opponents based on where they were last year, etc.
Who's at the bottom?
Good question. Well,
okay, so as we scroll down,
Cleveland Browns,
we forget
New York
that this
Jets,
is not a ton.
Miami Dolphins,
Arizona Cardinals, 457 to 1.
They have worse odds right now than the Ottawa Red Blacks do. And the Red Blacks have lost half of the season already.
However, you got to consider the fact that this is not a 9-team league.
Not wrong. But
because
still,
the odds of winning the Super Bowl are a lot further than winning in, a Grey Cup in general.
Yeah,
right?
but they have 17 times before that to prove people wrong. Ottawa's only got 9 left.
So what if, hypothetically, I were to sprinkle like a penny on the Arizona card? I don't think you could actually do pennies.
I don't think you can do a penny.
$2 is the minimum. But let's say, hypothetically, an individual was thinking about that.
They'd probably get sent to a mental asylum somewhere, honestly.
Hey, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, there might be people out there, there might be diehard Arizona Cardinals fans that would consider doing that.
They wouldn't get sent then. They're allowed to do that with their money if they want.
Yeah, you throw your support behind the team, win, lose, draw, no matter what. I can say that. I have been a Bengals fan since the Andy Dalton era. Okay?
There you go.
I have put in my time. I'm ready for Joey B, and I want to see him throw that ball to Dante Myers and get a whole bunch of touchdowns this season.
Number 81.
And let's go. I haven't bought the jersey yet, but
well, they need to start printing them first.
And we should probably get through training camp and preseason before I get too ahead of myself here. But it is exciting, okay? I like this. Okay, Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262 if you want to chime in here. Oh, there was one other thing real quick here before we got to get to Crofty. An interesting change that could be coming in the NHL in terms of the stock market. And you might be thinking, that sounds like the most boring thing you've ever said, stock market. Okay, so what they're trying to do is Wall Street is trying to turn NHL teams into investments. So not betting necessarily, but kind of betting. So how it would work is instead of owning part of the Maple Leafs, let's say, or the Oilers, you would buy what they call an ETF that would rise or fall based on how the team is performing. I did research to make sure that so basically what I'm trying to say is if you were looking into something like this, and it's, again, not official, they're just looking into it for the NHL, but you could be both a Leafs fan, you could be broke and emotionally broke. That is a possibility in the future. So they're working on it. Again, it's just a proposal stage. The SEC hasn't approved it, but
I don't know if they should, honestly.
I think that's kind of a bad idea because they go on a win streak, and I understand like that's how stock markets kind of work. They rise, they fall, whatever. But that is how you create even more volatility in tense markets. Well, and, like Toronto, let's be honest. That's a tense market to play hockey in.
Yeah.
That's not going to make it any better for the players.
No. And it's like all the private equity firms now getting into sports ownership. I'm like, all they care about is making money. We want our teams to be entertaining and winning. That's what we want.
Not looking at you, Toronto.
I kind of wished we were all community-owned teams because then it's the fans who are the owners, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But we can sit here on our high horse all we want. We should probably get to Crofty. Want to take a break first? Okay, we'll be right back with Croft on the other side. This is the Sports Cage, and it's on the home of local sports, 620 CKRM, and streaming at sportscage.com. Couple of quick rider updates coming out of practice earlier today. Samuel Emelis was back on the field, returning early from that 6-game injured list, and he is saying he's going to be playing in BC on Sunday. Also back on the field after being on the 6-game, Ali Saad, and of course returner James Letcher Jr. Offensive line looking a little bit better here now too, with Zach Fry taking some limited reps, and then Daniel Johnson also back. Right now Tampa Bay is up 2-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays. Looks like they don't want a repeat of last night, losing 10-5 to Toronto. So I think the Little League World Series, Canada lost, if I am not mistaken. So that's unfortunate for them, but it's only a couple of innings long here. Colson can correct me.
They haven't lost yet. It's the bottom of the 5th, but they're down 6-0. So.
And there's only 5 innings.
6 innings.
6 innings.
So they got one more shot.
They can still come back. Anything can happen in a half inning. It's
exactly.
fine.
They got one more shot here.
Let's go Canada. Okay. And if you want to vote on our SportsCage.com poll, do you think the Toronto Blue Jays will be making the playoffs? You can let us know, SportsCage.com. But now let's head out on that Western Pizza guest hotline and catch up with our buddy Dan Croft of Croft Electric. Yeah, I'm filling in for Barty today. Crofty, you get me twice in 1 week. I
was just going to say that. What a great week. What's the barnyard up to?
I think he's actually taking some vacation, so.
Good for him. He deserves it.
Well, tell me all about what's been keeping you busy. I doubt you're taking any vacation this time of year, heading into harvest. Things have got to be pretty busy, Crofty.
It is. It is extremely busy. I'm still actually sitting in the office. I'm the only one here right now. But, we're extremely busy. We're actually looking to hire. So if you know of any electricians out there looking for work, we're looking to expand both our construction team and our service team. So, and that could be, there's a lot of guys, that like me that are working late and doing paperwork that maybe want to come back and just go work for me and let me do their paperwork. all they can do is just work their 8 or 10 hour days and go home and enjoy their time with their kids.
Hey, I like that. So if someone's hearing this, interested in applying, Crofty, how do we get in touch with you?
Well, we on our website, www.croftelectric.com, there's a careers tab there, or contact us tab. Either one will work. Get a hold of us. If they have an updated resume, attach that. Give us a call. Stop in is always the best for that sort of thing. We want to meet you. Want to see who, the good human that you are. That's because we like to hire the best humans out there.
Well, and you can tell that you have a need for more individuals because you guys are so busy, and for good reason. Your tagline says it all. Do it right. Do it once. Commercial, residential, industrial, farm. We should probably also follow you on socials as well, hey?
Oh, I love it when the people follow us on the socials. We have our Tip Tuesdays, which we have a little fun with, and then of course Friday Funnies. Our social team does a great job of that, and there's always some other random posts about either promotions or specials we have going on, as well as when there is some hiring links on there as well.
Well, stay in the loop with everything Croft Electric related. And again, call them at the office, 586-1333. Thank you so much for the time, Crofty, and we'll have to catch up again on Monday.
You betcha. Nice talking to you on a Wednesday. Have a great show.
Right back at you. Thanks, buddy. All right.
Bye.
We are going to head into your news right away here on the other side. We're going to catch up with new Moose Jaw Warrior head coach Scott King. Hang around for that conversation. We'll be back. It's the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. It is the Wednesday installment of the Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products, and I'm your host, Teagan Witko. Today, right now, we are going to jump out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Perfect pizza, generous amount of toppings, and all the Greek favorites you love. And joining us right now, Moose Jaw Warrior head coach Scott King. King has been with Moose Jaw since the 2015-2016 season, moving from skills coach to assistant, and then, of course, associate coach, and now head coach. So congratulations on the very well-deserved promotion in the off-season, coach.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that a lot. It's, I've been here for pretty much a decade and saw a lot of highs, saw a lot of lows. Won a championship in 24. Obviously, that was amazing. And, it's a great place to coach, great community. So we love living in Moose Jaw.
You mentioned that you've spent a decent amount of time with this organization. So how much do you think that's going to benefit you in terms of your familiarity when you're heading into this new role in the next campaign?
Yeah, like you said, to have the knowledge of, the different kids and the different personalities on the team, that's going to help a lot. There's only a handful of kids that I really don't know. I've talked to all of them, obviously, throughout the course of getting this job. But knowing kids' strengths, weaknesses, where kids fit in, where they can play in the lineup, are they power play players, more suited to penalty kill? What works with different guys? We've had lots of different combinations last year. So it's going to be good to have that familiarity with them and be able to put them in spots where they can be successful.
Now, you worked alongside Mark O'Leary for quite some time now that he's off to take that assistant coach position with the Abbotsford Canucks in the AHL. What did you learn from him? What was that relationship like? And what are you maybe going to take from, his coaching style into your new role?
Yeah, he was great. Mark is ultra prepared, organized. He communicates well. He does everything with the utmost professionalism. So what I learned from him was each day you got to be super organized in how you approach the day, crossing things off the list, making sure that you communicate with the players, and that's a big thing. Obviously, they want to know where they stand daily. So having those conversations throughout the day, whether it's small, whether it's long. Those are really important things. And just the work ethic that it entails to do this job. Mark worked really hard. He was a guy that took a lot of pride in leading this organization, and I learned a ton from him, and I'll take a lot of things that he did, and obviously you still put your little tweak on different things, and you change things that you kind of thought once you got the job you'd do, but how the structure and what it means to be a Moose Jaw Warrior, I learned a lot from Mark, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to work with him.
Familiarity is a word that's come up here a couple of times in this conversation. And because you've been involved with a lot of these players for so long, is there a danger of knowing them too well? Or is that familiarity actually a bit of a benefit when you need to, have those difficult conversations as they arise?
Yeah, I think that part is important. Like it's nice to know kids and to know their personalities and how hard you can lean on them. And I learned that part of your job as an assistant coach is to get to know the kids, get them to feel comfortable where they can pop their head in the door and want to have a talk with you, whether it's about hockey or not. So obviously your role changes a bit once you become the head coach, getting super close with players and, you're not getting, there's going to be times where you're going to have to lean on them. And so that's just part of the deal. I think I'm ready to do that. I think I've built enough equity in the relationships with the kids where they'll understand that when I have to get hard on them, that it's for their benefit. It's to make us better as a team and make them better as a player. So I think knowing them and having that familiarity is going to be really important. And it does change the relationship a little bit, but it doesn't have to change entirely.
Moose Jaw Warrior head coach Scott King is with us here on the Sports Cage. Now, I understand it's still golf season here, Scott, but you're spending the entire off season on the ice here. So when you get these players back into Temple Garden Center in Moose Jaw, what is one of the biggest things you want to establish with the team right away in training camp?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that, the last 2 years we missed the playoffs, and that's not good enough for where we want to be. So letting them know that, 24 was a long time ago, and that since then, we haven't been a playoff team. So we need to hit the ground running. We need to just not dip our toe into the training camp and see, well, I'm a guy, I've been around 3 or 4 years, and I can just kind of get by, and, I can see how good I look and kind of be cool. No, it's about you get in here, you get better with each rep you do, you get better with each day that goes by. And for the young guys, it's an opportunity to push the older guys. You don't have to come in and kind of get out of their way. Go and take their job. So my message is going to be just because you were here, it doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't matter how you got here. Everybody's got opportunity in front of them. And what you do with that opportunity is up to you.
That's one heck of an approach to have heading into training camp, especially now 2 weeks out from preseason action, which is really exciting because I'm ready for hockey. I know that you probably are too. But as you look back on your time and your career, which has been so very impressive with the Moose Jaw Warriors, how would you say that your approach has evolved over that decade?
Well, I think once you get into the league, you're a little bit naive of what the job entails. And I think being an ex-player, you kind of get in and you think because you played, you know it all. And then you realize once you get into coaching that you really know nothing. It's completely different. You're managing 20-plus guys, personalities. You're managing a defenseman, positions you haven't played, and just, the challenges with being a teenager and living life. So what I learned right away is it's not an easy job. You have to be really diligent in communicating with the kids and understanding that, they're going through stuff as teenagers as well, whether it's school. So, having those relationships where they feel comfortable popping their head in the door and they're a player, but they can just be a person as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting started. Like you said, a couple weeks away. That's great. Our summer was really long here in Moose Jaw. Didn't make the playoffs. So excited to get going, get these kids in through the door here, and then get fitness testing ramped up, and then we'll hit the ground running. And we got 6 preseason games this year, which is great. Really good tool to evaluate your player, your team game. So looking forward to that, and working with the other coaches to get these kids on the right track right away here.
You look at your resume, Coach, and we all know that it's impressive. You played in the dub yourself, professionally for 18 seasons, AHL, ECHL, Germany in the DHL. So you could probably classify yourself as a player's coach, as you kind of alluded to there. But junior hockey is such a short window for these players. How do you balance developing individual players for the next level while also still trying to build that team that wants to win now?
Yeah, no, that's a challenge for sure. I think the biggest thing you can do as a coach is to understand that their individual success will ultimately lead to us being a better team. So all these kids, and we've talked about it for years, they're independent contractors. They just are. Like, everybody's worried about themselves, and I was no different when I played. You're worried about your successes, and that's how you're going to get your next contract. But letting them understand that if you buy into what we're doing, not only will you become a better player, but our team's going to have that much more success. And ultimately, when scouts look at teams, they're looking at teams that are winning teams, they're coming from winning cultures, and that's important at the next level. So trying to instill that, letting them understand that, I think that's the kind of approach you have to have.
So I know it's still very early here, but who are some of the names that we should be watching for as we head into preseason and WHL regular season for the Moose Jaw Warriors? What are some of the names that might not be expected to jump off the stat sheet right away, but that you have a lot of hope in, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Well, starting kind of, with a guy that probably be unknown to a lot of people, even Moose Jaw Warrior fans, is Carson Smith. We had him up last year a couple of times. He has an engine that just doesn't quit. He just works and works. He knows what he is. He plays to his identity. I think he's going to have a great first year in the league. A guy like Gage Nagel last year, when he got hurt, he was emerging as one of our best players, if not our best player at the forward position. So he's going to be a huge guy that we lean on as well. Landon McFadden had a great year last year. Can he take another step? That's a big thing. Like, can you take another step and lead this team into the playoffs? So that'll be the challenge for him. And on the back end, Colt Carter, tons of skill. I think he'll be an NHL draft pick. He's played for Canada at all the different tournaments. Great character kid. Leads by example, does things the right way. Cohen Williams, another guy who took a huge step last year. The start of the year to the end of the year looked like a completely different player. And we've got lots of great leaders with Brady Ness, Connor Schmidt, guys like that. So I'm really optimistic that we're going to come in and this group's going to be hungry to kind of flip the page from a couple of years and get this organization back to where it needs to be and wants to be.
I know a lot of Moose Jaw Warrior fans I've caught up with as of late. They've been talking a lot about this first-round import draft pick in Rasmus Kamirainen. I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing that right. I probably butchered it. But tell us a little bit more about this new face to the Warriors and what he can potentially bring to the team.
Well, I think with him is, first of all, he's a solid, thick kid. Like, you look at his the way he looks, like in different pictures I've seen, he just has a really solid build to him. He looks like a really strong kid. All the reports back, and we watched a lot of video on him before the draft, and we were really impressed just with his hockey smarts, the way he competes, the way he plays a 200-foot game, really responsible without the puck. And I think that, Finnish kids just naturally, that's more of a North American game over there. So they transition well into playing in North America. So I anticipate there's always going to be a learning curve as far as the imports that you get, just with the language and getting to know the people in the community and your billets and all that. But I anticipate that he's going to have a huge impact for us. I just like the way he kind of goes about his business when he plays. And honestly, coming from that Finnish program, they're really well coached over there, and they're prepared to take the next jump.
Rasmus Kamirainen. There we go. We got it. Yeah. That's a name that WHL fans should certainly be keeping an eye out for. And then another player I do want to specifically ask you about, added some experience between the pipes, right? 2025 WHL champion in Jordan Switzer. So tell us how you see him fitting into this squad.
Yeah, I think he's going to be great. Obviously, he's got that winning pedigree, which is huge and important. Understands what it takes to win. Understand what it takes to play on a really good team in Medicine Hat. I think he's going to give us stability in the net. He's going to, a backbone type of thing where we know that he's going to have our back if things break down, and they will. It's junior hockey that he's capable of making those big saves to kind of sway and change games. So I anticipate that he's going to come in and be a leader. I've heard a lot of great things about him, but it just gives us a guy that we've got in the net that we can depend on, and when games are on the line, they can kind of sway it one way in your favor just by making that key save. So excited to have him. I thought it was a good move to get him. So it's going to be, he's going to be relied on. Goaltending, it's your most important position. So I hope he comes in and does what he's done over the past couple of years.
Moose Jaw Warrior head coach Scott King joining us right now. Final question. I know that you've been exceptionally busy this week, especially because you're running your kids' camps, right? How's that been going?
It's going good. It's a lot of kids. It's good. It tries your patience. You got kids asking to go to the bathroom and they need a timeout. You say, yeah, you take whatever you need. You go to the bathroom there. So it's good. It's good. Like we talked about before we got on here, it's good to give back to the community. Kids love it. Our players have been great interacting with the kids. And like it's their special time, and each group gets to come and spend the day in the Warrior dressing room and kind of walk around and see what it's like in here. So just a good thing for the community to give back, and it's a great week, and I know that the kids enjoy it. It's also a good opportunity for the players. We have some new players that are working as well this year to get to know each other, get to know me. So it's been great.
Again, I'll say it. Very well-deserved promotion in the offseason. Cannot wait to see what you and the rest of the squad are able to pull off in this next campaign. Thank you so much for taking the time, Coach.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Thanks very much.
And we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. This is the 620 CKRM SportsCage, which is also streaming at sportscage.com and the mighty 620 CKRM. Welcome back. Tuesday edition of the Sports Cage is brought to you by Regina Motor Products. And of course, you can take advantage of some great little incentives here. So you might even get yourself an SO gift card if you go in for your vehicle health check and you get one of their oil change packages included in there. Nice little incentive, and that is going to be available to you until the end of the month, if I'm not mistaken. So take advantage of that. We will get to a ton of all of the rider updates that you need to know, but a couple of things that are worth noting right off the hop here is Samuel Emelis was back on the field earlier today, and we had an opportunity to catch up with him, which we'll get to here in just a moment, but he's confident that he's going to be playing in BC on Sunday. Another individual that we had a chance to catch up with in an exclusive one-on-one with our very own Dave Thomas and Antoine Brooks Jr. He talks about a number of things, particularly some stats that are backing up his game right now.
I'm joined by the co-leader in tackles in the Canadian Football League, Antoine Brooks Jr. Your eyes just lit up. You didn't know that?
No.
Well, you're tied. Do you want to know with who?
No, go ahead. Tie who?
Jameer Thurman.
Ah, big bro.
Well, that's a pretty remarkable statement in your first year as a full-time starter on defense, isn't it? What does that mean?
It just means doing exactly what I plan to do. Run to the ball. Get to the ball, figure out what the ball is at every time of the game, every point of the game. Actually, that's kind of cool, man. I don't really try to think too much about stats because, at the end of contract season, there's a lot of people thinking about that. I feel like if I play very hard, at the end, I'll just get what I deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, you've deserved that accolade halfway through this CFL season. In your eyes, when you watch the film, when you see your progression from training camp to where you are now, what do you see?
Shoot, that I can be 20, 30% better, honestly. It's just a little things that I missed. I could have had more tackles. I honestly missed a lot of tackles this year. Within the first 9 games, I missed a lot of tackles. Not knowing, that's just because we're a shoot mentality team. So, we a tackle by population team. And, I'm always willing to slow people down, just to get the team to keep going. And plus, it's a defensive game, man. Can't win championships playing by yourself.
Tell me about the team that you faced last week in Hamilton. Josh Woods, to quote him, said, "This is not going to be fun watching the film." What did you take away from watching that film?
Just learning. For me, it's always about learning. Yeah, it's an irritation thing about, watching, an L. But, losses is always lessons, and that's how I always, take it. And when you got a coach like JB, you start thinking like that too, because we all could have played a better part when the second half, when Ford came in. We just gotta adjust in mid-game, and we just gotta know that.
Hearing you speak, you're 6-3 through the first 9 games, but I can just sense the hunger in your eyes, in your voice right now. Obviously, that hunger goes into BC this weekend in a pretty big game.
No, it's a very important game. You already know how we feel about BC. Love them to death, but this is going to be a hard game, and it's always a hard game when we playing our rivals, especially in the West. I think if it's all going to count on who prepares the most and starts the fastest, honestly.
I got a chance to watch some film this weekend, and I still can't believe the vertical that you had. Now, Carrick Wheatfall made a catch in the end zone, but you're coming up on quarterback Trey Ford, and I don't know how you got that high and didn't get the ball.
And look, Trey Ford does Johnny Manziel things, man, and that's what I tried to stop. Even though I know who Trey Ford is, and I tried to adjust the whole game. Dang, I got to control this game now because of the pull up and his run game and stuff. I even tried a couple times, but it's hard to imitate. You ain't go through it in practice. You ain't really. You feel what I'm saying? We was imitating Frost in practice, and that's what I feel like kind of beat us up at the end of the game. So, and it's cool. We just got to learn how to. We a great team, man. We just got to learn how to adjust, man. I feel like, well, with all the great teams, stuff happens, and we just got to learn how to bounce back.
Well, the bounce back has an opportunity to happen this weekend. Tell me what you've seen lastly on film from BC going in.
Sure. I see not gonna say the same, but they making adjustments of who is messing up. I feel like they're watching a lot of film and they adjusting their offense or who they want to pick and who they go against. And honestly, their game is pretty much the same because they trust their quarterback, man. Quarterback is a good, trustworthy guy. I like him. He's a good quarterback to me. He make plays and does the wonderful things that people won't expect. So you just gotta always hold in on him and make sure that that we not just arm tackling him. He's a running back receiver, so you just gotta make sure we prepared and ready to go.
Co-CFL leader in tackles, Antoine Brooks Jr. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, that was our very own Dave Thomas having an exclusive conversation with Antoine Brooks Jr. And yeah, that stat did kind of catch him by surprise, if you didn't notice. Really good to have those conversations with the gentlemen as they get back on the field here. Now, a couple other items of note. Ali Saad back on the field today. James Letcher Jr. back on the field today. Same with offensive linemen Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson. Now, Fry was a little bit more limited, but based on what I'm seeing here in the injury report, I mean, it's looking like everybody's raring to go. Hopefully, at least everybody that was on the field raring to go for this week. So that is exciting to see. And then, of course, Sam Emilus is another big name that I know Saskatchewan Roughrider fans are excited to see come back. And not only just come back to practice, state that he's going to be playing in the game in BC this weekend. And also just be hungry to get back out there. In fact, he did address the media, and he spoke specifically to, the guys who were stepping up in his absence when he was, initially put on that 6-game injured list.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but thankfully guys stepped up, I missed, 3 games? I think we won 2. So, guys that had to replace me stepped up, and we kind of see what they can bring to the table. And that's big for the long run and for the career also.
To that point, there were a number of those young receiving core guys that stepped up in a big way, as Samuel Emilus referred to. But I mean, Johnny Johnson III got his first career CFL touchdown this past weekend. The game prior to that, at Mosaic Stadium, you saw Dylan Jeté kind of have his breakout game, right? He scored his first career CFL touchdown. So glad to see that he didn't rush himself back and that he's ready to go, and he's going to be, taking on the BC Lions this weekend. He did also talk a little bit about last week's game specifically because, they did come out of Hamilton with a loss. So here's what he had to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things to clean up. I feel like it wasn't really us. We could have been way better. But I feel also like you're not going to be perfect the whole season, and games like this, not to say it's good for you, but it kind of like bring you back on earth and tell the team that we got to keep working, and it's going to be ups and downs, and we was kind of downhill, and it's all about going back up this week.
Samuel Emilus returning to the green and white this weekend on the road in BC. So the receiving core is getting a little bit healthier. You got Samuel Emilus coming back in, joining Keyshawn Johnson. But the depth has been good. You can't deny that. Last week maybe wasn't their best performance, but again, we're moving forward. We're looking ahead to a team in the BC Lions that have been, picking up their boots a little bit here ever since Nathan Rourke came back from, being down and out here. So that's kind of the skinny on what you can expect from the Riders thus far. They will be back on the field tomorrow training further to get ready for their opponent this upcoming weekend. It is a Sunday game, so that's why there was no practice yesterday or Monday. But we'll hear more from them as Dave Thomas and the crew heads back down to Mosaic Stadium for more on that. And we'll have more coming up for you, including that junior football report. Yeah, we're going to do that before we wrap things up for today. More PFC talk. Yeah, we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break first. This is the Sports Cage on the home of Rider Nation on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Samuel Emelis is going to be back for the Riders this weekend. Also on the field today, Ali Saad and James Letcher Jr. So they return to practice in addition to offensive linemen Zach Fry and Daniel Johnson. Fry was a little bit limited today, though. Toronto Blue Jays are down 2-1, bottom of the fourth right now. They're pitching for Scherzer's on the mound right now. They got one runner on, so we'll see if they can pull off another win. Another big win against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight would be nice to see. And then let me see here. Canada still playing at the Little League World Series. They were down last that we checked, and it wasn't looking super promising. I'm going to go ahead and assume that the score hasn't changed yet, Colson.
It has changed, and it is final 7-0.
Okay, so unfortunately, Canada lost this one. They only get 2 shots at this. So, SportsCage.com poll, however, will the Toronto Blue Jays make the playoffs? Loaded question this time of year. But you know what? It's looking kind of promising, especially if the right guys can stay hot, if Vladdy can come back healthy. I mean, Alejandro Kirk has been kind of helping with that playoff push in a big way. So if his bat can stay hot and they can make all the right moves here as we get into the deep end of this regular season, there is some hope. And anything can happen in baseball, right? One of the hardest trophies to win in the World Series. So, okay, anyway, Jays, we got there. So I think we're good to go into our next report now. That ticker, by the way, was brought to you by Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada for Western Canada. So let's get to that Prairie football report, the junior football report, I should specify, with Dave Thomas.
This is the SportsCage Junior Football Report with Dave Thomas.
2 weeks of the Prairie Football Conference's regular season are in the books. The weekend kicked off at Edmonton with the hometown Huskies improving to 2-0 with a 38-28 win over Winnipeg. The Rifles are now 0-2 on the young campaign. In Saskatoon, the shocker of the weekend, the Edmonton Wildcats scored 10 unanswered points in the fourth quarter and upset the defending Canadian champion Saskatoon Hilltops 28-22. In defeat, Hilltops quarterback Griffin Sander was 26 of 40 for 359 yards, but threw 3 interceptions. Griffin joins me on the line from Saskatoon, and I guess, Griffin, in your words, tell me about the game last week.
Good start to the game for us, but we got to play a full 4 quarters, and Edmonton's a really good team, and got to play a full 4 quarters against them. They're a really strong team, and we'll see them again in 2 weeks, and it's going to be a really good game.
Obviously, there's lots of expectations, especially coming off a national championship. Has that added any more pressure to what you're doing right now this year?
Everybody knows, I think, that we won last year, but one thing I tell the guys, and something that we kind of preach, is just one day at a time and just kind of focus on the present, not worry too much about what we did in the past, and not worry about the future too much, just kind of one day at a time and go from there.
Well, your numbers were spectacular. Again, 26 of 40, 359 yards passing, the touchdown, and then an unfortunate interception on the last play of the game that kind of adds to the numbers when you're looking at pure statistics. But yourself, year over year in your development, are you happy? Are you confident? How do you feel approaching this season?
It's in the summer, it's nice to throw with the guys. Obviously, last year I didn't get the chance to do that, to get his connect, just because I kind of joined the team second week last year, but it's really nice to be more connected with the guys. Personal stats are nice, but 3 turnovers, that you're not going to win football games like that. And at the end of the day, it's just all that matters is getting the one in the win column.
Well, you talk about the receivers. My goodness, you had 8 different receivers that you targeted last week. How big of a luxury is that you can go ahead and get the ball to 8 different guys?
Yeah, I had a coach once tell me that playing quarterback is just being a glorified point guard. You just got to get your playmakers the ball. So whatever I can do to try to get the playmakers the ball as quickly as possible so they can make plays downfield.
How is this week's approach different from last week, or has it? You keep doing what you do.
main thing, keep the main things, the main thing, just focus on one day at a time and focus on what we can do. And then Calgary on Sunday, it's going to be another great matchup, and just one day at a time.
Griffin, one last question then about you. You talked about how you kind of came and joined the team, I don't want to say mid-season, but in the early stages of the season last year, having a full training camp, a full off-season at your disposal this year. Has the game changed at all for you in your approach and what you're seeing on the field now?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely different to have a full training camp with the guys, and kind of me and the other quarterback, Kyron Hoompen, we were joking about how everything was kind of going to be different for me until about a couple of days into week 2. So yeah, it's been different every kind of day up until then was kind of a new experience for me with training camp and spring camp and kind of all the different things that I wasn't a part of with last year. But yeah, it's been it's definitely been different coming in, kind of knowing you're the starter. There's a little more pressure, but at the end of the day, it's a privilege to be the starting quarterback for the Saskatoon Hilltops, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Well, it's another day, another week coming up this week for you with another tough contest ahead of you. Here's to bouncing back. And again, thanks for taking time on for us this week. And again, like I say, Griffin, all the best this season.
Thanks so much, Dave. I really appreciate it.
Both the Hilltops and Wildcats now have 1-1 records. The day wrapped up in Calgary, where the Colts fell to 0-2 with a 27-9 loss to the Regina Thunder. The Thunder offense was led by running back Peter Borsch, who ran the ball 33 times, racking up 240 yards on the ground. Peter joins us now, and tell me, what went right for you on Sunday?
Yeah, I think that the O-line had a ton of push up front, and we were just able to execute, and I think that our teams worked really hard, so we're in great shape, so we have the ability to keep doing it over and over again.
You've only played essentially 6 quarters by my count. What has worked well for the Regina Thunder offense in allowing you to be successful through those 6 quarters that you've played, taking in mind you sat out the first half of that second half of that first game?
Yeah, I think that we're extremely balanced, and we've got the ability to attack in lots of different ways, and that's not just run and pass, but we can run the ball to different points of the field as well as gap and zone. And yeah, we're just clicking as a team, and the OC's been doing a great job, and I'm super excited.
How has your experience here with the Riders helped you at that level?
It's been incredible. I mean, I've got access to some of the best coaching in the world, and I get to learn from some of the best football players around. And, it's just a lot of it's just about the preparation it takes to perform the way you want to, as well as just the confidence that it takes as well.
I remember seeing you in Saskatoon. You were sitting with your family in the stands, and your eyes were pretty wide open that day. They seem to have gone ahead and settled in a little bit more. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm super lucky to be having this experience, and every day I still wake up grateful and in shock, but I am settling in more, and I am kind of treating it more like it's my day-to-day, which is really exciting for me.
So finally, Peter, you enter week 3, finally getting a home opener. Where can this team go this season?
National championship. That's how the season starts every year, and that's where we expect to end every year. And I think this is going to be a great team and a great candidate for it.
Week 3 in the PFC kicks off on Saturday night with a Battle of Edmonton, with the Wildcats taking on the Huskies. On Sunday, the Regina Thunder, who are 2-0, play their home opener at Leibel Field when they host winless Winnipeg at 1 p.m. Meantime, up in Saskatoon, the Hilltops will look for a bounce back when they take on 0-2 Calgary. Kickoff at SMF Field is at 1. And that's the Junior Football Report. I'm Dave Thomas.
Thank you very much, Dave. He brings you the Junior Football Report every single week. We like to highlight, all of the things that are happening. We alluded to this earlier when we had a conversation with Matt Young. If you know Matt Young, you know that he is all over football here in the province. I mean, he does play-by-play for the Saskatoon Hilltops. He's all over Canada West, and obviously he is also a fan of the CFL, because he's the one that you would follow on Twitter, that you get the most up-to-date attendance numbers in each of the CFL facilities. So it's pretty interesting to see just all of the products that we're producing here in Saskatchewan. You can go back and listen to our conversation with Matt Young. That was earlier in the show. Go back and listen in podcast form at any time, or you can do so on our YouTube stream here as well. Just take that little clicker and slide her all the way to the back. Staying on the topic of football, we should maybe talk a little bit about the highlights from last week in Hamilton. Because, yes, we can pick apart some of the plays that didn't go the Riders' way, and obviously the corrections that need to be happening this weekend as they prepare for their next opponent. But there were still some bright flashes And I think that we've mentioned them enough this week, but just in case we haven't, we should play these for you yet again. And then we want you to vote. We want you to vote on the top play from last week for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So let's run it and hear what our top 3 choices are.
30 seconds to go. Ball on the Hamilton 21-yard line. Here comes the blitz. Harris has time to the middle, down to the 3, towards the end zone. Touchdown, Riders! What a play to Johnny Johnson III over the middle. Trevor Harris found him, and from 21 yards out, the Riders will take the lead right before halftime for Johnny Johnson III. That is touchdown reception number 1 of his CFL career. Ball on the 42 of Saskatchewan. Ford in the gun, only 4 down linemen for the Riders. Ford back to pass. Loads up, pressure comes. Now he's going to scramble and takes off. Gets to the 40, but he's met there and thrown down at the 40-yard line. It'll be a turnover on downs for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The first turnover they manufacture tonight. It'll be 3rd and 3 for the Riders, and it looks like Alex Hale is going to attempt a 4th field goal. This one will be long distance from about the 51. Hale, lots of leg, it's up, and it's good. He's 4 for 4 tonight.
It might be enough to give him the confidence to just, be that guy for them.
Those are the 3 options you have this week. Johnny Johnson III making his first career CFL touchdown. His first reception, career CFL touchdown, was 21 yards, by the way, if you didn't catch that. Josh Wood stepping up and stopping Hamilton quarterback Trey Ford on a 3rd down and gamble in that 3rd quarter. And then you also have Alex Hale, who went a perfect 4 for 4 last week. And again, if you're going to talk about kickers when they might be struggling a little bit, you got to talk about them when they're good, too. And that was a huge confidence boost for that Rider sideline. So, what do you think? You can go to SportsCage.com and you can go vote. What is your top pick of the week? Now, I admitted to this on Monday when Colson wasn't here, and I said I'm kind of a sucker for those career firsts, those major milestones. Last week when we did this, it was Dylan Jeté getting his first career CFL touchdown, so I went with Dylan Jeté. This week, I also went with Johnny Johnson III making his first career TD reception. So where do you stand on this? Not where do you stand Wednesday. We'll get to that in a bit. But what do you pick for the play of the week?
I think it's where do you stand Thursday. It's where do you land Wednesday.
Where do you land Wednesday? Well, same thing. Come on. I didn't pick the name. This is Barney's thing, okay? Also, the music, atrocious.
No, I thought it was great.
You tried.
I forgot to vote, so now I got to go find it to vote. But
it's on SportsCage.com, Colson.
I know. I'm looking at SportsCage.com. I'm just going to find the article to vote.
Fair.
I hear you with the firsts. I can get behind that. But I'm also in it for the comeback, right? Like Alex Hale.
That redemption arc.
Yeah. Putting the voices to quiet, the critics to quiet, right? Like, I'm all for that too. So.
Yeah, it is nice to see shutting the haters up is always very satisfying.
It is. Yeah. And I just put in my vote right now. It is currently 61% are voting for Johnny Johnson, 31% for Alex Hale, and then a honorable mention, 7.5% for Josh Woods, which great play.
Yeah.
I don't think it competes with the other two, unfortunately, but
I don't think the defense always gets the love it deserves, though.
Not wrong.
Because offense it's kind of sexy to fans. It's where the ball's moving. You're not always watching the guys who are blocking up front. You're not always watching the guys, making the big crucial blocks in the backfield. And that's the reality of football being probably one of the greatest team sports, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then there's special teams, which is always forgotten about until it matters.
Yep, suddenly you drop that ball on a return. Then you're remembered. Yeah.
What Chargers team was it that had the best offense and best defense and missed the playoffs?
What year?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. That would have been... Don't ask me years.
No,
this is why
on.
Google exists, and that's the only reason I'm able to look up any of those statistics.
It was the 2010 Chargers season?
That was 16 years ago. Come on.
But they finished 13-3 and missed the playoffs, and they had the best offense and the best defense in the league. They missed, because of those 3 games, because their special teams let them down in those 3 games. I watched a video on it. It was actually very informative and very fun. But it was literally like a missed field goal that got blocked at cost in the game. A game where they had 2 like kick return touchdowns in it, right? It was, again, football less so in the NFL now because they keep taking stuff away from it, and it bothers the heck out of me. But football is a 3-phase game, and if you forget about special teams, it will come back to bite you.
Well, especially in the Canadian Football League. A little more so, obviously, than the NFL. But what is I know Luke Mullender will always agree with this statement. Defense wins championships. Offense wins ball games.
Yeah.
Because and that's why it's a well-rounded and complete team sport. It's so important. And yeah, that's why you have so much of that family feeling and camaraderie that comes into those locker rooms, especially with the Riders. But it's going to be interesting to see some of the storylines play out this week, I think, for the Riders in BC, especially with Josh Woods, who was one of the honorable mentions here on our Plays of the Week. He's from BC. So going back home.
That'll be fun to watch.
But how much of it is going to be BC fans? Like, I've never been to BC Place. Maybe I just don't want to go because I don't want to go to a CFL stadium with a roof on it because I don't like the cold weather. And I don't know, maybe I want a roof on Mosaic Stadium. Either way, there's going to be a lot of green in the stands. That West Final wrecked me, Colson.
That's valid.
That was a very cold game.
I also went to the 2013 Grey Cup.
I can't. No, you beat me.
So
you got me there.
Now, again, that was the one day where the temperature broke a little bit.
Still at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I can tell you that I think it was 3 or 4 hot pockets in each of my boots, and my feet were still numb at the end of the game.
I swear they stopped working after that kind of cold.
Yeah.
They stopped working maybe 30 minutes in. I had to swap mine out.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. I couldn't feel anything anyways because it was a great game. But still.
A great game because of the football on the field?
I was 16.
Oh, okay.
So
say no more.
Yeah.
Say no more. We got you. It's all good. Okay. Well, I should also mention here one more time. I can mention it one more time, right, Colson? You haven't made the draw yet?
I haven't made the draw yet. I'll make it pretty much as soon as we go off air here. So you got basically 60 seconds to get in on Pick the Score.
61 seconds right now. Pick the Score brought to you by SaskTel. Chance to win tickets to the next Rider home game, which is August 29th, the family game. Predict the score for this weekend's contest in BC. 306-936-6262 is the number. Text us the score along with your name, your full name. 306-936-6262, Prairieland Rentals text line. You get that into us. Colson's going to be making the draw right away. He does not take bribes, despite what some people on the text line are saying. My apologies. We have checks and balances in place for things like this. But we are done for the night. On behalf of myself and Colson, thank you very much for coming along for the ride. Again, you can go back and listen to any of our conversations from earlier in the show by just going back and grabbing it wherever you listen to your podcasts. The Wednesday installment of the Sports Cage brought to you by Regina Motor Products. And thanks for coming along for the ride. It's the Sports Cage. And it's on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.